Hello everyone, hopefully you can hear me pretty well, hopefully the sound balance isn't too bad. Welcome to another Fear the Old Lore stream. As I mentioned in my channel update and on my various social media platforms, this is going to be a little bit different from some of the other runs that we've done so far. I intend to play this one on the unpatched version of the game, hence Bloodborne Unpatched 1.00. Everybody welcome in, I'm glad to have already so many people. Before going through, let me look at my notes because I had some things I wanted to say first. Right. So rather than a typical lore through, which I've done before in the past, at least twice, this will be a little more casual. It's going to be doing more of an arcane build run. I was looking into the arcane rifle spear, but unfortunately it looks like the kind of gems that I need won't really be available until late game, just because I won't have access to the PlayStation Network to screw around with Chalice glyphs. But that's fine. I'll do a full-fledged arcane build for my kind of second time. This time running around with the saw spear until we get the arcane rifle spear kit loaded up. And since we are playing the unpatched version of the game, there is a little bit less content because we don't have access to the DLC. So one thing that I do intend to do is run through some of the Chalice dungeons. Maybe I'll grind a little bit offline because they get a bit repetitive, but that's something I haven't done in my other playthroughs, so at least there will be a little bit of a variation between content. And then next, right, so as far as the format of the stream goes, on subsequent ones there'll be like a 2-minute, like a stream starting soon kind of thing, just so people can trickle on in. And hopefully the live chat replay for YouTube will be available after these go live. I will read what chat says and try to react accordingly, but if the past streams are any indication, I might not be able to keep up, so I'll just try my best. So please be patient with me. And oh yes, if you guys are interested in talking about the lore, you have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I'll try to respond appropriately. Everyone in chat is also welcome to reply to each other. I see this more as a community type event. And if you want to talk more lore or like Soulsborne titles or even more, feel free to join the Discord. I should probably plug that more often, but we do have a good community there, and we do like to discuss quite a few topics. So, an administrative note, one thing that I've learned since doing like all the Dark Souls playthroughs is I was probably recording too much damn footage at once. So what I intend to do is just probably pause my recordings and start them, or stop and start them in smaller chunks, so I don't have to go through 4 hours of footage to get like a 30-second clip. That was a little bit painful. Alright, so with all of that administrative stuff out of the side, out of the way, let me scroll back up in chat and welcome everybody in. Deacon6, welcome. General James, anything but the old lore, Mercy. Copy to Pasty, welcome. I remember your name from the comments. Scott Spaghetti, nice to see you. Elda Gusto, welcome in. Christian Doherty, thank you. Tanner, nice to see you again. Unpatched, so half the stream will be loading screens. Yeah, I should probably get started soon, just because of those loading screens. But we are playing on a PS5 now. I did manage to secure one of those, so you know, maybe we'll get a good old 3 seconds off the loading times now. Mega Blair 007, welcome in. You never see Bloodborne live? Welcome back in, Effervescent. Nice to have you. Mortis, welcome in. Arcane Saw Cleaver, pretty much. Saw Spear, but... Patch again, thank you for the luck. Alright. With all that said and done, as you guys can see, the loading screen is a little bit different in the unpatched version of the game. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say, like, press the X button normally. I think it just kind of automatically goes in. Or that might have just been because I already had a save file. So it just goes into the, like, the next screen here. So in order to play on 1.00, I did have to delete my save data, but that's... not too bad. I do have it backed up, so it seems I was playing around with some of the settings earlier. At least in the menu screen or the title screen, it does seem like the actual sound settings work here, but I remember the last time I played on 1.00, I couldn't properly balance everything. So I'm going to turn down the sound effects because those tend to be a little bit loud, and then I think I'll just leave everything else at 7. If needed, I could probably adjust them later, but hopefully it actually works in the game. Okay. Bloom, you welcome in. David Hinckley, welcome in. All right, now let's start the new game. Oh yeah, and I can't really see anything on this monitor. So I have to pump it up pretty high for myself. Hopefully that's not too bad, although I'm familiar enough with Bloodborne, I should remember where pretty much everything is. Don't remember if I actually used default sensitivity now that I think about it. Let's just... Oh, if I want to use... whatever, we'll just deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Paleblood.
And we got Nightbot working, sweet.
Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
So one of the things, I don't remember if I've said it on my previous streams about the Blood Minister's dialogue. It looks like it was possibly changed pretty late in the development because the Korean matches with the English version of the text, and the Japanese is pretty different. He's more like he can't talk to strangers, so he needs to administer us the blood before he can tell us anything. So it's pretty close to the English, but there's just some minor differences that I do have like archived on my spreadsheets there. Since we're going to do an arcane run, let's probably pick something that has a decent amount of it. Cruel Fates. It's got a decent amount of vitality and endurance too. Alright, seems good enough. One thing that's kind of interesting is that each of the starting classes do have a different amount of blood echoes, and we can make some extrapolations about some of the lore from what we can see. So the Noble Scion has higher blood tinge, so that's kind of one of the things that intrigues me, because it just shows like maybe they're more related to Canehurst, or like more blue blood, so to speak, have a higher blood tinge. So let's go with the Cruel Fates. We'll just go with the default appearance. Let's just go with a girl, because I don't do that one too often at all. And there is a little bit of a different gendered dialogue. So, get that good old loading screen there. Post, welcome in. Jonathan Ryan, what's up? Nice to see you. Should have tied this contract to the messengers. You think the Blood Minister is slightly more tied to the plot before they changed him last minute? Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
I know in the like network test they had a kind of old lady starting NPC instead of the Blood Minister, so he was probably also added fairly late in the game. They changed the story around quite a bit. Harkon and Stephen Guerra, welcome in. Psyched for another stream since the DS ones ended. Your lunch breaks have been boring. My apologies, but nice to see you again. And hopefully now your dinner breaks, or at least evening snack breaks, are more eventful. Lady Maria OST says the nobles are cursed or something like that. Yeah. So we get the blood pool and the beast coming out of it. Catches on fire. So as I've said before in previous streams and some of my videos, I think this is supposed to represent that beasthood is inherent within man, and if you're like a chosen hunter, this probably shows that the beasthood will not control you. And I do think that the messengers are probably linked to that, just because they're what appear immediately after the beast appears. But again, this is a bit more open to interpretation, so if people disagree with me, they're perfectly entitled to do so. It's just kind of how I see things. 30% of the 1.0 game right here is the loading screen, yeah.
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
Elda says that makes you think the hallucinations are common, since the minister says it's all a bad dream. Everyone's administration involves a battle for their soul. Potentially, and it is also worth noting that there are so many of the Yharnamites that do have the coverings over their eyes. Maybe it's because they have been seeing visions, but one thing that I have wondered is like whether or not the normal Yharnamites can actually see messengers. And since there are like a bunch of messenger statues throughout the kind of city, it seems plausible, but it's just kind of hard to say for sure. First time catching stream in general? Love the videos and exploration of the universe? Well, thank you. Thank you all for joining in. Alright, so as we are hopefully familiar with this note, handwritten scroll, seek Paleblood to transcend the hunt. One of the bigger differences in translation is, in my opinion, the handwritten scroll portion should be understood as it being in the player's own handwriting, because it says, like, literally that it's autographed, and the characters use, like, the character for self and then pen or brushed, self-brushed, self-written, autographed, essentially. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't really think there's too many viable alternatives for a self to be looking at this note. So the way that I look at it, since this is kind of an interestingly contentious point with some of the people with whom I've spoken to about this over the years, that they might think that maybe Yosefka or the Blood Minister could have written this, which is fine, but I personally don't think that the note itself has handwritten scroll written on top of it. I think that's more of like a note about the note. I feel like that's the character's perception of what it's trying to say. So it's like, oh, you recognize that this is supposed to be your own handwriting, and you're telling yourself, seek Paleblood to transcend the hunt. Why the hell we know what Paleblood is, why we were in search of it, we don't really know. We do know that for whatever reason, the player character was aware of Paleblood even before this note, because that's what the Blood Minister is kind of reacting to in the very opening cutscene. Like, it's supposed to have been taken place off screen that we said like Paleblood to the Blood Minister, and then it starts as like, oh, Paleblood. He's kind of replying to us, is the way that I interpret events there. Randomize a lore run, improvise lore on the run. You can glitch dupe the coins and demon souls you make? Okay, yeah. Even in Bloodborne, with the earlier patches, you can dupe things now, but I don't really know how to do that. Oh wow, the frames. Maybe it's just extra noticeable after playing like Demon Souls, but seems really choppy. Oh no, now it's smoother. So maybe it's just in that room? Maybe I'm just imagining things. So we get some of the messengers to view the notes, attack, all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna leave this Scourge Beast here, unless he like runs up and catches me, in case I want to like glitch through the door to show that off. I think you can also just like jump off. I meant to double check some of the earlier glitches you could do, because I'm pretty sure you could just jump off there into the back, and they patched that out later on. And that's how people used to do the clinic skip before it was rediscovered with the aid of the Scourge Beast. So I'll kind of speed run a little bit, not a ton. Unless you guys want me to go super slow, which is fine. Get some Molotov cocktails. I think this dude can follow me up the ladder too. Playing on a base PS4 or PS4 Pro. This is actually the PS5. I do have the hard disk that I have in the game, so it is 1.00 and all that fun stuff. Oh, yeah, this lamp now transports you back to the Hunter's Dream. Upon death, you'll awaken at this lamp. And that's probably a good cue to pause and restart my recording. Okay. Those are just pebbles right there. Have to wear socks on your hands as a demarcation line. Does you mean you get the boss fight glitch? Which glitch is that? I kind of ignore most of the NPCs for now. Just get some more mollies for like when we deal with Gascoigne. So one of the things that I also wanted to check on version 1.0 would be to see if we could summon Gascoigne for the Cleric Beast, and whether or not we use the Beckoning Bell to summon him. Because one of the differences that I noticed in the other versions is that they switched the Beckoning Bell mechanics to the Old Hunter Bell, which is perfectly fine. But since this came out before the Old Hunters DLC was a thing, they didn't have the Old Hunter Bell at that point in the game. So you would use Alfred to access... Or sorry, you'd use the Beckoning Bell to summon Alfred in Old Yharnam. So I just kind of wanted to see, one, even if we can summon Gascoigne, or, what else? Just, oh yeah, what would happen if we could summon Alfred for it? I wanted to see if it's the Beckoning Bell for the Cleric Beast. So we'll skip the Cleric Beast for a little bit as well. Been out for so long, you forget if I've covered it. Is there much on the lore of the world outside of Yharnam? Not a ton. Like, we do get some hints as to some of the other cultures with Yamamura and Balter, but really not a ton. Other than that, I think the only other big thing would be the Executioner's Gloves being found in a faraway distant land, and even with that being said, there's a few people who do tend to believe that that faraway distant land is still supposed to be Yharnam in relation to Cainhurst. I personally disagree with that, but yeah. Let's go talk to Eileen, and then we'll punch down our Saw Spear and get our weapon for the game. A Judo Chop. Damn. We got some hands. Alright, I'll also take a pause and read a little bit before talking to Eileen. And yeah, since I'm not like super serious about this playthrough, I'll keep the HUD on. That'll be fun when we get later on and can look at our damage output with our arcane stuff. You actually still think the PS5 doesn't exist? It's just a big conspiracy? Lore and Chalice is set in other countries? Potentially. There's also like the belief that the Chalice dungeons could represent nightmares. So whether or not you want to say Lauren is a different country, or if it's anything like the Nightmare Frontier, is also worth considering. You play for a long time, the game's memory burns out, and bosses repeat the same move? Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, that might be a thing. Noobly Biscuit, welcome in. Otako Fedito, welcome back. Sorry I didn't welcome you earlier. Yeah, I did actually manage to get a PS5. I got pretty lucky. I originally wanted the digital one, but we got the disc one, so I mean it kind of worked out for this run at least. Captini Laseri, welcome back. Did Finland versus Soviet War happen in Bloodborne universe because firebombs are named Molotov? So that's a kind of a product of localization, and thanks for reminding me because I want to put that on. In the game itself, we do get the Molotov cocktails. As far as the Japanese goes, it's cayenne bean, which is literally just like flame bottle, essentially. So even if you just type that into like a Japanese to English dictionary, cayenne bean, you're likely to get Molotov cocktail. Like in some ways it's disambiguated. Like I didn't even realize that Molotov cocktails were named after a person until I saw like people talking about it in Bloodborne, like, oh, it must be on Earth because it has Molotov cocktails and Hippocrates and stuff like that. Are you doing sort of a No Hunter's Dream run? No, I'm not nearly good enough for that. But since I'm going to go for the Saw Spear, I'm just going to go ahead and pick that up now. Arcane Saw Spear, because Arkansas Spear. Okay. Here we go with Eileen.
Oh, a hunter, are you? And an outsider? What a mess you've been caught up in. And tonight of all nights. Here, to welcome the new hunter.
Bold Hunter's Mark. Devin Guy, welcome in. He's also a streamer, you guys. He's also doing a lore run during the days. So if you check out Devin Guy on Twitch, I believe spelled the exact same way, you can also get some more Bloodborne content in your life.
Prepare yourself for the worst. There are no humans left. They're all flesh-hungry beasts now. Still lingering about. What's wrong? A hunter unnerved by a few beasts? No matter. Without fear in our hearts, we're little different from the beasts themselves.
So I really like Eileen's dialogue here because I think this kind of sets her up as being a kind of unreliable character because she believes that fear separates a people from the beasts, whereas we do have the description of the Molotov cocktail, I believe, which can directly contradict that. So, just one thing to keep in mind. Tony dear, I thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. I'm glad it was helpful for you. Watako says, it could be nightmares, but you're pretty sure it's supposed to be a country that fell to the scourge. Hunter's got a hunt.
What are you still doing here? Enough trembling in your boots. A hunter must hunt.
Alright, so as we've seen, certain types of beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. Actually, now that I look at this, it kind of looks like the UI is a little bit different. Maybe it's lower? Like, the size of the font? Huh. I'm kind of... I mean, it's really not a big deal. It's just... I mean, I could just be imagining it, but now I'm curious. I might want to double check this later. Alright, yeah, so... that's pretty much that. She gave us the bold hunter's mark, which is kind of cool. She is the hunter of hunters, which uses the hunter's mark, but it's blue. So I do like that there's the kind of thematic overlap between Eileen being a hunter and giving us the bold hunter's mark. Molotov cocktail is a term was coined during the Soviet Union's age, so it'd be weird if the game took place after 1939. Yeah, and that's one of the things I brought up in one of the translation differences videos. Jonas West, welcome in. Why does Eileen have the hunter's mark if she's no longer Dream Hunter? They shouldn't work for her. Well, that might be why she gave them to us, but that's a good question. Right, so this one should be the Saw Spear. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. And then we get the Madman's Knowledge over there. Oh, we did pick up a few more blood vials. I just put it away. Alright, so I'm not too used to using the Saw Spear, so I'll probably suck because I don't really know its ranges super well. And all that. We'll go see Gascoigne's little girl as well. Oh yeah, there's actually plunging attacks in this game. Damn, it was shooting at us? So this is our Madman's Knowledge. Throwing knife. I'll go ahead and pop the knowledge now, so in case we die, we might be able to buy the Beckoning Bell. I don't exactly remember how you get it initially. It's all good. Playing Hubless again, I see you, Mad Lad? No. I just had it offer when we were talking to Eileen, make her look a little bit prettier. I'm trying to remember if there's anything super useful up here. I don't really think so. I do know that there's like a thick cold blood up there, so we'll worry about that one later. I don't have a gun. I need to remember that so I can't stun lock the brick troll up ahead. Hunter's marks may be permanent, yo. You got stuck on Chalice Ram and stopped playing for a bit? Yeah, Chalice Ram is quite annoying. For me, the only Chalice boss where I just like noped out of was Chalice Abritus, just because I'd already killed the base one and that was such a pain in the ass that I was like, I don't really feel like doing this, but worse. So I went ahead and summoned for that one. That's the only one that I summoned for though. So if you really don't want to fight Chalice Dungeon Ram, you have my blessing to what's it called? Summon for that fight, because it's annoying. And video games are about having fun. Oh wow, okay. Didn't expect to one-shot it. Damn it. Gotta hate Chalice Ram. Some corpses also have them. Oh yeah, for the Hunter's Runes. Effervescent stayed up late, nearly 4 a.m. here. Holy crap. Thank you. Hopefully it's worth it. But why are they dead though? Which ones? I think I missed the context. Chalice of Brightness can get bent, I agree. Baldwin, welcome in. We are in the same time zone. Nice.
Wretched outsider. Trying to fool me to open this door. Heavens, the depths of depravity. Wretched outsider trying to...
Alright, so the bell did remind me that we are like offline, so we won't get like any extra bell sounds. I think in earlier points of development they had wanted the bells to switch up like the enemy patrolling patterns. I don't really think it worked out, but I think there's a really cool idea. It'll probably come back in Elden Ring in some form. Alright, so now we can talk to Gascoigne's little girl. As we approach this area, we can hear the lullaby from Murgo, which is coming from the music box, which you'll give us in just a moment here. Need the Holy Blade hitting at 900 and Chalice dungeons are a must, yeah. After playing Demon Souls, only now you realize how this game is in the same style as it? Okay.
Who are you? I don't know your voice, but I know that smell. Are you a hunter? And please will you look for my mum? Daddy never came back from the hunt, and she went to find him, but now she's gone too. I'm all alone and scared. Really? Oh, thank you. My mum wears a red jeweled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You won't miss it. Oh, I mustn't forget. If you find my mum, give her this music box. It plays one of Daddy's favourite songs, and when Daddy forgets us, we play it for him so he remembers. Mum's so silly running off without it. My mum wears a red jeweled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You won't miss it. Oh, and if you find her, give her this music box. Please, I know you can do it.
Joseph Sokolowski, welcome into the stream. Thank you. As I just said, unfortunately, I am playing off the network because we're in 1.00, so unfortunately we can't summon in this time, just maybe some of the NPCs, although they'll be much fewer in number since we don't have the DLC to kind of bolster our ranks. Alright, so let's go ahead and equip our music box, our tiny music box. A small music box received from a young Yharnam girl plays a song shared by her mother and father. Inside the lid is a small scrap of paper, perhaps an old message. Two names can be made out, however faintly. Viola and Gascoigne. So I think right now I want to go back to the Hunter's Dream. We'll cheese this dude's AI. He's scripted to turn around, so you can just run, like, technically in front of him. Oh yeah, I should probably turn the hood back on. We'll pick up our torch, and I think a couple Molotovs is what they have. Yep. We'll go back to the Hunter's Dream, just check if they have the beckoning bell. What am I doing? Well, let's leave that for now. And then maybe buy like some blood vials and get the firearm. Because I fear I'll probably get clapped by Papa G if I don't have one of those. I didn't think they dropped anything. Okay. So yes, El Gusto does a good job pointing out that Viola went to see Gascoigne. Oh yeah, that's the dude that we ran from earlier. I was confused why he was in there. Oh. Okay. Just testing out a little bit of its ranges there. Oh, you can just close it. Okay. Get some QS bullets. I think this is the what's it called? The cocktail? the blood one. Okay, a pungent blood cocktail. And so this is our first lore note of the game, essentially. Oh yeah, you need to talk to Gilbert. That would be really important. When the hunt began, the healing church left us, blocking the great bridge to Cathedral Ward as Old Yharnam burned to the ground that moonlit night. So this note should be fairly straightforward. I think there's just a little bit confusion with the English. In that it says, as Old Yharnam burned to the ground that moonlit night, it makes people think that it happened like the very first time, but this note is supposed to indicate that when tonight's hunt began, the Healing Church closed off the Great Bridge, just like they did to Old Yharnam. So this is kind of supposed to indicate that the people of Central Yharnam have essentially been abandoned by the Healing Church. Cosmic asks, what's my favorite weapon in Bloodborne? I'm a big fan of the threaded cane, personally. Oh yeah, copy to pasty. Thank you for bringing that up, the moon scent. Yeah, so Gascoigne's little girl does remark on that, and I meant to bring that up when we first talked to her. She says, she doesn't say we smell like the moon directly. We'll summon Alfred here later. But that is a common theme amongst some of the characters when they encounter the hunter. I think the dude should still be here, because I didn't kill it. Maybe he just screwed off. Pick up our pebbles. Okay. So yeah, we do have a unique scent that is familiar to many characters. So hunters have a unique scent. I personally think that scent is related to the pungent blood cocktails, just because if beasts can't really see us and they attract us by scent, and this attracts them even further, I would assume like, oh, there's probably like hunters probably smell like what's in pungent blood cocktails. So in my opinion, it's probably kind of just all like blood echoes or something along those lines. So age like cheese like it does in real life. My team beast or team broccoli? I'm team human. Everyone knows that Evelyn's the best weapon. Evelyn's the best weapon, but just wait until we get the arcane rifle spear going. I think Queen Annalise and Impostor Yosefka are the ones who describe it as reference to moon. Yes, so Queen Annalise does, and Yosefka, fake Yosefka does. Yes, that's correct. They smell the souls. Yeah. See our good old buddy Gilbert.
Oh, you must be a hunter. And not one from around here either. I'm Gilbert, a fellow outsider. You must have had a fine time of it. Yharnam has a special way of treating guests. Well, I don't think I could stand if I wanted to, but I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done. This town is cursed. Whatever your reasons might be, you should plan a swift exit. Whatever can be gained from this place, it will do more harm than good.
So Gilbert's like our first friendly NPC, ignoring the little girl and Eileen, which I kind of messed up that ordering on. And when we go back to the Hunter's Dream and return to the Yosefka's clinic, we'll have the true Yosefka there, closed off the door where we originally came from. So I probably want to do that, at least pick up her blood vial if for no other reason. Immaculate Grass, welcome in. You said fire scales off arcane for some reason, right? Yes, so every elemental damage type scales off of the arcane in this game. They associate moon and blood, would that make sense? That would make sense. Was Gilbert once a hunter? Flame sprayer is a church weapon, you think? It's a common question. I don't think we really have a good answer one way or another. He could have had the flame sprayer but never used it. He could have been a hunter. It is described as a healing church weapon, so it does pose a good question as to why he's the one we can obtain it from. Burnsley Fitzroy, welcome in. You forgot that arcane rifle spear was busted. Can't wait. Yeah, unfortunately it's going to have to be late game just because getting the flat arcane gems doesn't really seem to be a thing so much in the base game. You notice how blood echoes and blood drinking from Helsing are pretty similar? Okay.
Paleblood, you say? Never heard of it. But if it's blood you're interested in, you should try the Healing Church. The Church controls all knowledge on blood ministration and all varieties of blood. Across the valley to the east of Yharnam lies the town of the Healing Church, known as the Cathedral Ward. And deep within Cathedral Ward is the old Grand Cathedral, the birthplace of the Healing Church's special blood, or so they say. Yharnamites don't share much with outsiders. Normally they wouldn't let you near the place, but the hunt is on tonight. This might be your chance.
Learned or learned, welcome back. I see you changed your name, and I'm so bad at remembering actual names, but I do recognize your avatar, because we talked about how it's not a chicken, but it's like death or something like that. So welcome back to the stream. What build am I going to do? We're going to do an arcane build using the saw spear, and then eventually hopefully switch off to the arcane rifle spear because it's broken in the earlier patches of the game. Jonas is correct. We don't have access to the Chalice glyphs either. Yeah. Maldwin, alright, thank you very much for dropping in. We will have the videos on demand once the stream's over, so if you want to catch that later, you should be able to. But if you like the live experience, I totally understand, and I hope you have a good night and your headache gets better. Oh, Kerm the Derm, okay. How's it going, Kerm? I might need to change your name now on our like credit screen. I probably need to redo that anyway, but Tony says, is Oedon like the kami of Kagare in a certain way of looking at it, or could he be served as such rather? That's a really, really good question. I'll try to get back to that after I talk about Gilbert's dialogue, because I'll probably forget what he said if I go on a rant about that. So, okay. Gilbert had mentioned that the valley is across to the east, and so we know that the Cathedral ward is to the east, which puts like the sunset essentially towards the eastish, which is kind of funny to think about. I like to use that as justification that we're probably not seeing the world as it's actually supposed to be right now. So just wanted to point that out. What else did Gilbert talk about? Paleblood, right. I didn't mention it yet on this playthrough, but if you guys have watched my videos, Paleblood is most explicitly a reference to the moon presence. But we don't really know that yet, so just keep that in mind. And then one other thing that I wanted to point out is, at least in the very earliest unpatched version of the game, the lighting was really different. Wait, yeah, the lighting is different, so we can actually see quite a bit farther. Things are like a little bit brighter, and I think it gets really noticeable in Yargul. So let's load up into the next screen, and then I'll read chat during that time. Alright, so before I forget, Tony's question, is Oedon like the kami of Kagare? So that's a really good question. Oh wow, that loaded quickly. I don't really think we have an explicit answer. I think he could be interpreted that way. I think there's enough room to believe that Oedon could be like the cosmic force in the universe, like the greatest great one, but it's just kind of hard to say for sure. So I don't want to give a definitive answer if I don't think we have explicit confirmation for it. So the first time we do go into the Hunter's Dream, the doll will be inactive no matter what. That's true in New Game as well as New Game Plus. So she's an abandoned doll. We get some messenger gifts. Let's go with the pistol. Since I think last time I used the blunderbuss, we can get the notebook, which is going to help us a ton on our offline adventure. We have Gehrman. I think I'll just leave him there for now. One of the cool things to show off is the first time you talk to like the insight or the messenger baths, the messengers aren't present. So this bath appears linked to the nightmare, but there are no messengers. So I think that's just kind of a cool way to attach the Hunter's Dream to the concept of nightmares, since it's a bit more divorced in English at times. Telling you the sun isn't real? Potentially, yeah. Cosmic says you have small confusion. Why does everyone still refer to it as night even during sunset? It's that's a good question. Maybe the Yharnamites are seeing something different than we are. But in some places throughout the world, you can conflate evening with night. And the time does change further once we defeat Father Gascoigne. So I'm going to go back to the real world for a second, or at least Yharnam, and then we'll port back in to talk to the doll. Waken at a selected location in Yharnam. Let's go to... yeah, let's go to the sick room, talk to Yosefka, and then we can come back to the dream and all that stuff. Mortis says in Helsing that vampires drinking someone's blood also takes their victim's soul into themselves. I think that's kind of how like it's supposed to work in Bloodborne also. Oh yeah, you did cook our pistol and our torch. Ooh, bright. Tony Deere says, thank you for acknowledging that question. You feel your understanding of this is good sometimes, but other times you have no idea. Oedon is formless, perhaps that's why you can't fathom your own thoughts. Yeah. So one thing that I do like about Oedon is that if he is formless, like you can argue that blood is formless because it's like a droplet, so it can become any form depending on what it's contained in. So that's kind of one way that I like to think about Oedon. Also, like sound is kind of like a wave as well, and he exists in both sound and blood. So that's just kind of the way that I kind of conceptualize him. The sun's a conspiracy, obviously. Just wait till the black hole, great one. Oh, you mean the brain of Mensis? Cosmic says, in the game you believe the sky is always in the blood moon, just hidden by Ram. Yes, I agree with you. You wish the lanterns were the chairs? Yeah, that would have been so cool. They kept it in. I don't really know why they changed it. Maybe the lanterns just worked better. Somebody had told me that there's still like a pretty strong association with lanterns in the afterlife in Japan, which is true. It's just kind of harder to get that across, I guess. But nonetheless, I still think that the lanterns will work well enough because they light the way. If we think of movies like Poltergeist, like go towards the light, there is still that kind of a imagery or symbolism in the West as well. All right, so we get the true Yosefka right here. We can kind of see her through here. And she does have the same model as the fake Yosefka, except she is not carrying a weapon right now.
Are you out on the hunt? Then I'm very sorry, but I cannot open this door. I am Yosefka. The patients here in my clinic must not be exposed to infection. I know that you hunt for us, for our town, but I'm sorry. Please. This is all that I can do.
Get Yosefka's blood vial. And it's important to talk to her just because it establishes a kind of connection between us. So it makes the imposter's dialogue feel more out of place if you come back to her. But my first time playing through the game, I don't even think I talked to Yosefka. Or at the very least, I know I didn't recognize that the imposter was an imposter. So that kind of blew my mind when I discovered that. Tony says, all the Shinto references and themes would have went over your head if it wasn't for me, but after the revelation, you went down another rabbit hole of thought. Well, thank you very much. I also want to credit JSF, aka Jerk Sands Frontiers, Sophie Pilbeam for her work in exploring some of the lore before I did, because she definitely helped guide my trains of thought towards the lore. So I don't think I would have gotten as far, at least as quickly, with understanding the lore had it not been for her work beforehand. So, sharing the love. Maga Blair asks, so Oedon is like a force of nature rather than a great one per se? That's a good question. I don't want to say for sure one way or the other. I think one can interpret him to be that way, but I think it's also fair to say that you could argue against that just because he is explicitly called a great one rather than like something more. But I do think it's interesting that we do have like Oedon Chapel present in Yharnam before like the healing church was a thing, so it's kind of hard to say like maybe Oedon really is the quote-unquote god of Bloodborne. We just don't have enough information, unfortunately.
Now go, and good hunting.
Elda says chairs are probably goofy looking when you sit down at them in the middle of nowhere. That's a good point. Kaged Yushin, welcome in. You always said you saw Oedon as Azathoth or Yog-Sothoth-esque. Yeah. Those are other really good comparisons between like Bloodborne and H.P. Lovecraft's work to consider.
Are you still in need of something? But I have nothing more to offer. Please, try to understand my position. I can only pray for a fruitful hunt.
Yeah, and Tanner brings up a good point. Oedon has the whole Immaculate Conception thing going on with him. So yeah, definitely a lot of parallels to other representations of gods in various belief systems. Elda points out the lanterns do have bells and they might have incense. Yes, and those are also good points to tie like bells with the resonance being linked across worlds and all that kind of thing. Daihachi, welcome in. Mostly Yog Sothoth. The biggest thing being invisibility and creating offspring with humans. Elda says you don't think Oedon manifests as a literal sound, more of a numinous feeling? Potentially. Stella B, welcome back. You see Oedon like Mantarak from Eternal Darkness for some reason, even though he's based in Lovecraft's work? Okay. Mega Blair says he gets the smallest church F. That's true, but one of the interesting things about the Oedon Chapel is that it's literally in the center of Cathedral Ward. So that's kind of cool to think about. So even though like the Healing Church's Cathedral is like the biggest one, the Oedon Chapel is central to Cathedral Ward.
Hello, good hunter. I am a doll, here in this dream to look after you. Honorable hunter, pursue the echoes of blood, and I will channel them into your strength. You will hunt beasts, and I will be here for you, to embolden your sickly spirit.
So this is one of the bits of dialogue that I covered in one of my more recent videos, the one about the Hunter's Mark and the Hanged Men and all that. With her talking about blood echoes, that's like the dying wills of blood. I feel like a broken record talking about it at this point, but they're essentially like equivalent to willpower in these games, and they come from the dead. And rather than like emboldening our sickly spirit, she says like they'll embolden our will in Japanese, using a different form of will. So at the very least, there's an explicit connection between blood echoes and willpower and HP, as I'll show off right here in a second.
Hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
So one of the things that I show off quite a bit, when we look at the HP stat, it's described as the power or will to survive. So even in Japanese, this is pretty much a very, very faithful translation. They use Ishi as well to describe the HP stat. So basically, you can essentially convert blood echoes into HP, which is synonymous with willpower. So will equals will. Who would have figured? Kagurushin says the moon presence has certain connections with Oedon when you look at the underlying symbolism, and how Oedon's runes are quoted in the moon presence section of the art book. Yeah, and that's a really good thing to bring up. Thank you for bringing that up, because that's one of those things that's kind of bothered me for a while. Like, why would quotes with Oedon be like adjacent to images of the moon presence and like Queen Yharnam? So there may be meant to have been more of a connection between the moon presence and Oedon and Queen Yharnam and all that kind of thing that's worth considering. So it's one of the things that I do like to think about, but unfortunately it always just feels like we're like one link short of a full chain, if that makes any sense. You would like to point out the moon presence also seems to not have form until it descends to meet you. For all we know, Oedon could manifest but has no reason to. Potentially. That's an interesting idea. Health point Lovecraft. MP equals Oedon? Yes. Well, maybe. No, I totally misread that. Ignore what I said. Kasuk says, what plane could Oedon be ruling over? For example, Amygdala rules over the frontier, Cosner Child rule over the Hunter's Nightmare, Moon Presence rules over the Dream. So this might go against like the established grain of thought, but I personally don't think that the Great Ones preside over specific sections of the dreams or nightmares. I think they're more or less crafted by what exists within them, and I kind of view a lot of the dreams and nightmares as more like analogous to maybe something more like the life stream in Final Fantasy VII or like the far plane in Final Fantasy X, in that they can be shaped by their inhabitants. However, with that being said, I do think that Great Ones would have the most ability to exert their own kind of will upon their dreams and realities to make them more tangible, I guess, to a certain degree. Like, they can blur the lines of reality to make the dreams stronger, I guess. And part of the reason why I say this is just because when you look at the Hunter's Nightmare, we do get like 2 versions of Cathedral Ward. So it just kind of shows like the residents of each area kind of vie for control, I guess. They kind of shape things. And if you look at the Hunter's Nightmare closely, you get like a bunch of like the graves and stuff that you'd see in the Nightmare Frontier. So it seems like part of the nightmare was overwritten by like its new inhabitants, I guess. I probably do need to take a drink. Hopefully that didn't screw up my stream. Alright.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire? Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand close. Now shut your eyes.
I can only level up once right now. It's a little bit surprising. Let's just go with Vitality. It's a good all-purpose thing. Really a little bit shy. I could use a thing.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
Oh, this is probably the bell. Yep, consume insight in ringing the beckoning bells to enlist the cooperation of hunters from other worlds. Silencing blank ends such forms of cooperation. So that'll be good enough to kind of get us started. I could talk to Gehrman. I kind of want to just move on at this point, though. Alright. Tanner asked, do we have any reason to believe that Oedon and the Moon Presence could be the same force, just misunderstood by people as 2 different figures? That's always a potential. One point that's kind of worth considering is sometimes you can end up inadvertently shooting yourself in the foot if you want to argue that 2 different entities are the same thing, just because you can't prove it or disprove it, and it just kind of ends up being a little bit of like a house of cards, in my opinion. Not that I don't like it. Like, part of me thinks that to a certain degree. Like, I wonder if that's a possibility, but yeah, I don't really know for sure. But I just don't like how flimsy it is, considering the lack of evidence, if that makes sense. The real Oedon is the friends we made along the way. Alright. Check out this note. I always like how you have to kick over the books to read it. To escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. This note's fairly straightforward. It kind of establishes our goal. In order to get out of the dream, we need to end the hunt, essentially. And to do that, we need to stop the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, which is kind of a big point to consider. It's not like you need to just kill all the beasts. You need to stop like what's causing the beasts. So I think that's supposed to be like the really big kicker, that for the second and third endings of the game, or the first and second endings of the game, you need to silence Murgo's cries, because it's beckoning the Moon Presence. So the ultimate like source is essentially like the Moon Presence blurring the lines of reality as it gets closer to Yharnam due to Murgo's cries. But how much that makes sense on a meta level is kind of a here and there, I suppose. And one final note about this note is that in the Japanese, it calls this more like an abhorrent hunter's nightmare. And it's interesting that it refers to the hunter's dream as a nightmare. Gehrman also refers to the dream as a nightmare. We did show off that messenger path a moment ago that says like it's linked to the nightmare. And one thing that Aruki Mania pointed out, and I just kind of overlooked when I was translating the game, like I had it in my notes, I just didn't like remember it, that even the doll calls the dream a nightmare at one point in her lines. So that's kind of interesting to kind of rediscover. Elda doesn't think that the Great Ones rule over the Nightmare territories, more like the Nightmares often seem to be like results of the Great Ones, like Murgo's personal nightmare. Potentially. That's kind of one way that I would read it. That seems more natural to me, I suppose. Tanner says, you agree assumptions without evidence likely aren't intended message? You're just curious if you knew of anything that backed it up. No, I don't really think there's a ton to support it, but I mean, if you want to consider like the moon presence potentially I can't think of the word. Like inadvertently, accidentally taking the place of Oedon as like a figure of worship by the Healing Church, I think that could be a potential. Like maybe Yharnamites and like the Tumerians worshipped Oedon at one point, but with Lawrence and whatnot, they came into contact with the moon presence and that all changed. So maybe in their minds they're meant to be the same thing to the normal Yharnamites, but they're truly different things ultimately.
Aha! You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the hunter's dream. This will be your home for now. I am Gehrman, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it.
Alright, so that's one of my favorite lines, just because there's like that pause of Gehrman trying to remember his name. One way that I like to think about it is if he has been possessed by the moon presence, maybe he doesn't have full faculties over his mind. Maybe he does, we don't really know. Maybe he's just been in the dream so damn long that he doesn't really have anybody to talk to, so he's starting to like lose his sense of self. So it's like, you don't usually like refer to yourself by your own name unless you introduce yourself to somebody else, so it just might be something that's slipping through his mind because it's not super relevant to him. And Colton, welcome in. Thank you for your comments. The moon presence at the end is a cornered beast. This is telling us a lot, that the Great Ones are just as bestial as man. Her in her cosmic blood echo vampiric way. Yeah, that's one way that I like to look at her, especially with like the beast-like snarling that she does. Was Bloodborne any theory is a good theory? I disagree. I've seen some pretty out there theories. There are some great ones in the physical world. Yeah, Abritus. There's also the, what's it called? The Celestial Emissary, technically, according to the trophy description. Quite a few amygdalae in, like, what's it called? Central Yharnam and Yahar'gul.
This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons and flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the doll, should it please you.
And that's the line that always stuck with the fans' minds in the gutter. David Mitchell, welcome in. He said, is it possible he isn't even Gehrman? He could just be like a hunter who took his place? That's a cool idea. One reason why I would kind of personally disagree with that would just be because when we do fight Gehrman at the very end of the game, he's called Gehrman, the first hunter by the game itself. So that leads me to believe that he's probably just Gehrman. But I like the idea. It's food for thought, so I always encourage people to bring that kind of thing up, even if we end up disagreeing with it. Worth exploring. Phobos, welcome back. Technically, the One Reborn, that's kind of like it has an asterisk. At least as far as the trophies go, the One Reborn is not described as a great one. And there's enough reason to believe that it isn't. You know, let's equip our beckoning bell. I probably don't even need to do that in this version of the game. I wonder if I need to fight the cleric beast to be able to summon Papa G. Get some bullets. That's always nice. Hopefully we don't die to the brick trolls here. You wonder if Elden Ring will have your own personal document. Robert Fanelson, welcome in. You think Gehrman is the actual last player that got the second ending? The name Gehrman is the name that was just the friend test, and just name it as a placeholder for each one. Oh, I don't have it anymore. Oh, the range. I should have dodged. Oh, I lived. I need to stop rallying and, like, heal. I'm gonna get ganked. There we go. Oof, rusty. Okay, just have to delay a little bit. The pistol, I think, is, like, slightly faster than the blunderbuss. It's probably just, like, imagination, though. Damn it. Holy crap. It's probably gonna give me shining coins. Okay. We'll just kind of deal with this for now. At the very least, I got a few echoes from them, even if I didn't really gain files. Gehrman isn't Gehrman, but someone else, and that's just raising the question of who that someone else is. Yeah. I do like the idea that Gehrman has just been around so long that he's just been literally killing all of the previous hunters. And he's just that badass, and he's so experienced at what he does. So I prefer to think of Gehrman as Gehrman then, just if for no other reason. I think it makes him more of a badass to fight in the second and third endings of the game. Oh, this one. Okay. Talk to the lonely old deer. Cold blood deer, that's what I thought. Do you think Bloodborne 1.0 had summons in it? Weren't they added with the... You don't think it had summons? They did. They had Alfred at the very least. I don't know about Gascoigne, so this is one of the things that I wanted to double check with this version of the game specifically. We get, what is it? Just cold blood, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think of the fastest way to get to, like, Gascoigne's house. Probably through Central Yharnam. Oh no, there's the stairs. It's just kind of annoying to go to. This way is probably just easier overall. We get the other brick troll. So if I remember correctly, Gascoigne's summon is at, like, at the fountain right outside his house. Where we opened up that shortcut. Now we can just talk to the lonely old deer. Even though she's going to just berate us. Oh, cancelled out of it.
I've heard I have. Shutting up indoors isn't always enough. Well, if you once had got off your arses, you wouldn't be in this mess. You're obligated to help me, you hear? So what'll it be? Are you going to tell me you're not? Yeah, I should have known. You're good for nothing. No respect for the elderly is what that is. Yeah. That little good you outsiders do. Go on, admit it. You think we're all mad, don't you? Well, go and stop it. I know all your tricks.
I love that voice actress. She did such a good job with those lines. Alright, Cosmic brings up a good point, that Gehrman has trouble remembering Ludwig. That's true to an extent, and I agree with you. However... Oh. Uh-oh. What was I gonna say? Yeah. He has trouble remembering Ludwig. But he doesn't take as long to remember Ludwig as compared to himself, is what I'd say about that. And then I saw what somebody else had read. Sorry, I'm missing your name right now. That you brought up a good point that Gehrman does refer to Lawrence and Willem in that one, like, hidden dialogue that he has. That's another really good point to consider. Okay. Used to that. Is that the last one? I thought there was another one. Maybe it's just that dude. But it's like further down here as far as displacement goes. Not gonna be able to catch up. These dudes kind of scare me. Oh, it's too slow. Oh, I thought that was way too early. Okay. Okay, now we're doing pretty well. I think we could probably beat Gascoigne like this if I play well. But that's I mean, I could say I could beat anybody if I play well. That's kind of dumb. Okay, these dudes take 2 hits. Oh. Robert says, it would also explain as to why you get the blade after the main game's over. Yeah, and so when you do get the item descriptions as well, I don't really think we have enough reason to believe that Gehrman is anybody other than he is described to be. But I do understand why people would be interested in believing that Gehrman was just another previous hunter. I mean, it makes sense to a certain degree. If we are supposed to, like, replace him. But I mean, that could just show, like, why us as a hunter is just so much more badass than all of the other hunters, because we had to face so much more. Okay, so that's a shard. That's actually pretty decent to pick up. Kind of similar to the Soul Cinders. Mr. Lulster, welcome back in. Phobos says the time frame always confused you. I missed all that. Oh man, I'm really behind. Alright. If you guys had something important to say, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to miss it unless you repeat it. Yeah, so as far as the timeline goes, I was thinking of potentially making a video going over the timeline, but there's going to be a lot of holes in it, so it'd probably just be more of a stream of consciousness type of thing. Yeah, we already talked to her. So he would normally be around here. I don't know if we'd need to encounter the Cleric Beast first to summon him. So I might want to do that. Just go fight the Cleric Beast and die. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Hunter's Dream. I cash in my Echoes. Or wait, no, we could just use the Bold Hunter's Mark. Okay. That makes sense. I tend to not use items, so I forget that they actually have a functionality at times. Could try the pacifist Gascoigne cheese by using the music box to transform and fall through the exit gate. I just wanted to have like enough blood vials where I knew like if I screwed up a little bit, I shouldn't get clapped too badly. These dudes I'm probably just going to run past. Get our passive insight from encountering the boss. Try to make this look cool. Well, I should probably record. Alright, that's good enough, I think. Not that I really need a ton more Cleric Beast footage, but it's kind of nice to get sometimes. background Renaissance times. During the plague, people wear cachets and quicksilver on their neck. Don't I want to go this way? Yeah, it's probably fastest. Especially if I just run past everything. You hear the rifle spear bolts do arcane damage in the original version of the game? Yeah. So I guess like flat scaling arcane is what you need to use, not just like regular arcane. Because I guess it doesn't properly scale with it, despite what it says. So that's the plan, eventually. But it sounds like that eventually is probably going to take a while, just because there really aren't flat arcane damages, or flat arcane damage gems in the earlier portions of the game. And since we can't use the glyph system, we're kind of screwed a little bit. Alright, so it doesn't look like we can summon Papa G. But at the very least, we can see if we can summon Alfred later on. So we're going to skip the Cleric Beast, we're going to go fight Papa G, and all that fun stuff. Isn't there actually something pretty good from the crows? Other than pain. But there's an item here. Oh yeah, the oil urn. Alright, so this dude should just give us, hopefully, some blood vials. So we're gonna try to farm him again. Sweet. Jonas says, you always thought Gehrman was cursed for killing Mother Chalice and placed within the Hunter's nightmare after his death. Reborn as a child of the beast he killed, and the cord he took wrapped on his arm. I think that's a good reading of things, especially with the DLC. There is some questions with the timeline, like, was Gehrman already possessed by the moon presence by the time the DLC events happened? Oh. No, I should have rolled forward. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm scared. Not like this. Ooh, that was lucky. Blood-starved Bree, welcome in. I like the name. Oh, okay. So that doesn't do the one-shot kill. Probably because I didn't get the charged R2 off, just the shot. Okay, that would make sense. You think Gascoigne is closer to the central Yharnam lamp in 1.0? Really? Would you know where exactly? Because I didn't see it. He wasn't also where like Alfred would be on there. Pebbles. Dark Soul, welcome in. Thought you can only summon him in New Game Plus. Don't think so. That might be true though. I think most people just don't do them in a new game cycle because fighting the Cleric Beast is more common. I don't need to kill these crows because, I mean, they're hitting me. But I was just trying to read chat. David Mitchell says, the symbols are almost accidentally left in when they don't mean nothing. The devs didn't even see them as Christian signs. I think I missed what you guys are talking about. That's what I get for screwing around with crows. Down the stairs before the shortcut? Oh, okay, wait, I think I remember. He'd be over by, like, the bridge, wouldn't he? I don't know if that's a 1.0 thing, or if it was just, earlier build stuff. I think there's a Madman's Knowledge over there anyway. Probably worth getting. Patrol. Weren't someone introduced to the Old Hunters DLC? No. So at the very least, I know for a fact you could summon Alfred ahead of time. But I don't know about Gascoigne, so this is just one thing that I wanted to double check. Crows can signify a ton of things. Yeah. One of the cool things about crows, or no, that's ravens I'm thinking of, is that that they're the hunting companions of wolves, like naturally, like they kind of work. They like alert wolves of like predators, I think, and just kind of keep watch over them, and they share in the scraps that wolves take from the animals, so they just kind of have like a symbiotic relationship that I just kind of butchered explaining right there. Alright, so we can go up the bridge and see if he's all the way at the back. We get the 2 Scourge Beasts over here. I wonder if that roar is supposed to signify the Cleric Beast. Alright, so yeah. I think this is where like Lance McDonald showed off, where he could summon Gascoigne. So maybe he can't do it until New Game Plus. That'd be really easy to check at the end of the stream though. Or like the playthrough, I mean. Yeah, since we're up here, might as well go get the Thick Cold Blood and the Hunter set. Oh yeah, because I don't need to wear the, the foreign garb. And take a lot of extra damage. Pick up a shard, and then upgrade as well. Crow Wolf Synergy? Yeah. I said symbiotic, I totally meant synergistic. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So, where's our Thick Cold Blood? It should be on one of the rafters. Crows are so smart, you love them. Alright, so now we're doing pretty well on the Blood Vial and Quicksilver Bullet situation. I thought that was a... no. Yeah, I guess it was a 5. What the hell? Looks like I got hit from behind. I probably need to... Oh, this dude has way more health. Okay. You think it's just the werewolves howling? I know it's like kind of triggered. Like every time I go up that bridge like that, they howl. Right now we're styling the what's it called? The like network playtest. Oof. It's gonna hurt. Uh-oh. Okay. I thought I was screwed. I was playing Demon Souls and I got stuck in like the caverns. I think this is nothing. Okay. Essentially nothing. We're gonna run past all these dudes. I like how this one has a hat. I didn't notice that before in previous playthroughs. We're gonna go hopefully not get run over by the pig. Damn. The no-hit run killer right there. Crows symbolize eyeballs to Oedon. Oh shit, I should have ran. Okay. Cover your eyes. That wasn't late at all. Man, LP's way more elite at this than you are. I mean, I've played this enough where, like, I'm comfortable. But let me just, die to Father Gascoigne like a scrub after saying that. I've been playing Demon Souls? Yeah, so since we did get the PS5, I've been playing Demon Souls lately. I've got one more Arc Stone to finish off. I need to finish off the Valley of Defilement. I already fought King Gallant. That was a fun fight. Maybe I fought him early, but it didn't feel too oppressive. It was pretty fun. It was actually a little bit easier than I thought overall. Too early. Yeah, screw it. We don't need to do that. I'll leave those guys and, okay, let's hopefully this will go well. Corvids represent a lot of things. Should have streamed my first Demon Souls playthrough. I thought about it. I just wanted to go in blind. I also play the games really slowly, all things considered. Like, I take breaks pretty often after, like, clearing a section. Also, just finding the time to balance everything is kind of tough. They did that on purpose with the pigs? Well, I mean, it certainly wasn't an accident to program it that way. Be kind to crows lest your heart be lighter than their feather.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
It's a heart attack? Interesting. We love slow streams. You one-shot Armor Spider in New Game Plus 3 today? Firestorm? Oh yeah, I probably need to pay attention to Gascoigne because he's an angry boy. Alright, so Gascoigne is a really cool boss. Like, the quintessential this is a Bloodborne boss. And in his human form, he can't break the tombstones yet, which is kind of cool. I saw Lance McDonald stream the network test, and all of the tombstones were able to be like rolled through by both like Gascoigne and like the player, so they were like easily collapsible. So it's really cool how deliberately they made the tombs to be only broken by the oh no, by the beast form of Gascoigne. I think the tomb pathing got him. So what else was I saying? Yeah, he says beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them sooner or later. As far as the Japanese goes, he makes it sound as though we've already turned... That should have definitely connected, in my opinion. Whatever. He thinks that we're already impersonating as a beast. Oh, slow. Oh, not that way. And that's even more apparent when he kills you in his human form, because he'll say like, "Oh, you're like impersonating a beast or a man until the end, huh?" Okay, there we go. I do no damage. Oh, it's too slow. I do parry. Oh, that cut off his dialogue. He can react to this 3 times total. The third one, he will transform into a beast. Oh, that's fast. Uh-oh. So we should be able to do it once more. And then we're screwed otherwise. So I'm going to finish off with mollies, I think. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Okay. Sweet. That's how I wanted it to go, so we did it. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't know super well is like there's a hard limit of the 3 music box like staggers that you can do to him. So you can do it 3 times to him as a human, but at that point if he becomes a beast, I'm pretty confident he doesn't recognize it anymore. So you can do it twice to him as a human and then once when he's already a beast. And then the Molotov cocktails probably do extra damage once he like fully transforms. And then we get the Oedon tomb key as well from him. So let's go to the... No, let's not go to the dream, because we'll just go to the next lantern. It's like right there. Let's go see Viola. And then go to the next lantern. Demon Hatred works just like this? You never thought about it? Oh, I missed some of that. Thank you guys for the GG. Can he be killed before the transformation? Potentially, probably, if you have like enough damage to do it. It's probably hard to do it this early in the game, though. See, music, welcome in. Well, no music change on phase 2 in this version? Oh, that's a good point. I thought it did start to change. Maybe I just missed it. Throwing a Molotov at someone's face does a lot of damage. It did more than I was expecting. I thought the first one did less. So I thought he would have lived a little bit more. You're working on 100% Demon Souls to help Protag if he needs an item description or something. Thank you very much, Mortis. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. We'll talk more about that offline. So we get the red jeweled brooch from this lady's corpse, which is what the little girl was looking for. Bright red brooch used to gain a droplet blood gem. A woman's bright red brooch engraved with the name Viola. Message. Perhaps the jewel is a gift from a hunter used to change into a droplet blood gem that fortifies any weapon. With the proper workshop tool, various weapons can be fortified. So we'll just go ahead and use this, because that's kind of how you advance like the little girl's quest more. I mean, it pretty much ends, like, you doom the girl as soon as you talk to her. The winning move is to not play. So that kind of coincides with the music box that talks about Viola. My opinion is that it should be taken that Gascoigne is the one who kills her, because he can't recognize people anymore. I think that's the more FromSoft touch that they have on the games, to make them more heart-wrenching and more tragic, to make Father Gascoigne a more tragic character. Las Vegas, welcome in. Demon Patriot has a ton of foreshadowing beforehand. Oh yeah, for sure. Are blood gems like diamonds in this game? Kind of. It seems that way. Oh yeah, and that reminds me. One thing that commonly gets brought up with the blood gems and whatnot is, or at least the red brooch, is potentially that Viola is from Canehurst. Because it kind of resembles what you can see on like the knight's attire. She has blonde hair. Her daughter has like the Oedon Wraith rune. If we send her, or no, Formless Oedon, if we send her to the clinic, which we'll do. And, yeah, so we'll see. Second Molotov is more of a direct hit? Okay. You think the first one hit the graveyard and the AoE hit him. Okay, that can make sense. What's up with the music box on the Duke Archives? I don't know. The Bergenware spider hides all manner of rituals and keeps our lost master from us. A terrible shame. It makes my head shudder uncontrollably. So this is some more foreshadowing about Ram. I've talked about this a bit in my videos. The Lost Master is potentially a reference to Willem at the very least. The reason why I say Willem as opposed to Mikolash, which is the more common theory, is because there is a little bit of the cut dialogue from the Password Gatekeeper, where he talks about his master, and it seems more like a reference to Willem than Mikolash. However, to be fair, Willem and Mikolash were the same character at some points in development, so yeah. As far as like the final retail build version of the game, this could still be a reference to Mikolash. But with Willem also being like vegetative, I guess you could make arguments either way. Cosmic says Viola didn't take the music box, so he didn't remember that she was his wife. Yeah, that's the way that I look at it. Isn't Gascoigne killing some Yharnamites when you get there? You've heard the theory that they killed her and they pushed him over the edge. Yeah, that's a common theory. I think that's just more of a theory to help the tender-hearted reconcile the events of the game. So, I mean, you can choose to believe it. That's just kind of not how I look at it, though. Because I think it does more for Gascoigne to make him a tragic character and a victim of his own bloodlust. So I think it helps strengthen, like, how dangerous going blood drunk truly is. Which does more for characters like Eileen as well. Cathedral Ward. Get our lamp. Is Father Gascoigne supposed to be a church hunter? So that's a good thing to bring up. I'll show off some of his, yeah, let's just go there. We'll talk to our good boy when we come back. When we look at his set, it says, like, he cut ties with the Healing Church. So at the very least, the shawl was a symbol of the Healing Church. Well, you never know if she talks about Flora, the Moon of the Dream. I don't think she really does, and maybe we'll get the fabled humming. Okay, I didn't think so. I didn't think the triggers were this early. Alright, whatever. So we'll leave her be. How do we get the messengers? That's weird. I know you can't buy Henrik stuff. Gehrman will tell us more as well. So let's go ahead and fortify our saw sphere for now. Okay, we're a little bit shy. Talk to Gehrman. You going to farm in Yahar'gul? Probably, like, not. I mean, I'll probably go to Yahar'gul, but probably do more farming in the Chalice dungeons on this stream. Gascoigne is a church hunter as his armor is recognized by the lady in the unseen village. Yeah, so Gascoigne said is one of the easiest ways to talk to Adela, but it does say that he did part ways with them, and so at least he was a church hunter, but he doesn't seem to be one anymore. You remember needing 10 insight to use the inside bath in 1.0. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. I don't think I saw that on the wiki. Maybe it was there and I just kind of overlooked it. So we're still going to be short. Okay.
The moon is close. It will be a long hunt tonight. If the beasts loom large and threaten to crush your spirits, seek a holy chalice. As every hunter before you has. A holy chalice will reveal the tomb of the gods, where hunters partake in communion.
So there's quite a bit to unpackage there. So Gehrman makes the interesting point that it's going to be a long night, so that kind of shows that there's some time dilation shenanigans. As Solaire would say, the time is convoluted. And we'll meet Solaire again in a moment here. You do need 10 insight to get the messengers before 1.04. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. What happens if you hit Gehrman right now? He kind of turns into a silvery mist, and then he just doesn't appear again. Until you, like, fight him later on. Gehrman's lines are great. He disappears and he'll respawn again. I'm pretty sure he doesn't respawn. Well, maybe he does in the earlier versions. But I can't just, like, back up my save online super quickly, so I'm probably not going to do that this playthrough.
Most of the holy chalices lie deep within the tomb of the gods, and the few that found their way to the surface were lost again in the hands of men. But if the old hunter tales remain true, one of the holy chalices is worshipped in the valley hamlet. Yet the town is in disarray. It was burned and abandoned for fear of the scourge. Home now only to beasts. The perfect place for a hunter, wouldn't you say?
So this is like the biggest clue of where to go to next. I would say like this makes Old Yharnam the canonical next place to go, and like the Bloodstarved Beast somewhat of the next canonical boss to face. You can go and I guess let's check the regular messenger bath. They should have the Hunter Chief emblem, or maybe we need to kill. No, we need to kill the Cleric Beast. So yeah, technically, I don't really think the first optional boss shows up until Dark Beast Parl, or arguably like the Witches of Hemwick. Alright. Because we didn't get the Sword Hunter badge from the Cleric Beast, so we can't skip through the front gate of Old Yharnam, or of the Cathedral Ward right now. So yeah, Gehrman's lines are telling us to just pretty much go to Old Yharnam.
Very well, let me...
And then, for whatever reason, that opens up the way to Cathedral Ward later on. So 15 Vitality is what I usually like to start off with. But we don't really need to worry about too much of our damage just yet. That'll get better over time. We don't need a ridiculous amount of damage to kill the Bloodstarved Beast either. But we should go back to Central Yharnam to talk to fake Yosefka now, and Gilbert to get the Flame Sprayer for doing the arcane build. So that's what we'll do. I guess I should have talked to the OG, what's his name? The Chapel Dweller. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll talk to the Chapel Dweller, because then we'll go talk to fake Yosefka, Gilbert, then the old lady, and the little girl. So yeah, that makes the most sense, I think. How does an outsider know where to go and what to do? What guides him to take the canonical route? That's a good question. Like, you just have to talk to every NPC at the earliest possible point you can. Like, it's not very direct at all, which is why like a ton of people fight Gascoigne first and not the cleric beast, and why some people skip Old Yharnam entirely. So there is a free amount of non-linearity to the game, even if there's a kind of canonical way of going through it as far as like the lore and stuff goes. Am I gonna get sacked? Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, you must be a hunter. Very sorry. The incense must have masked your scent. Good, good. I've been waiting for one of your ilk. These hunts have everyone all locked up inside, waiting for it to end. It always does. Always has, you know, since forever. But it won't end nicely. Not this time. Even some folks hiding inside are going bad. The screams of women folk, the stench of blood, the snarls of beasts, none of them's too uncommon now. Yharnam's done for, I tell ya. But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Oedon chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over. If you wouldn't mind.
So his pronunciation of Oedon there is what makes me say Oedon, because I interpreted it as like a non-rhotic R type sound, but whatever. I know that drives people crazy, so my apologies if I revert to some bad habits, I suppose. So as far as the actual dialogue goes, there's a lot to unpackage there with like people on the inside going bad. I think that does a really good job of setting up in how sorry a state Yharnam is right now. And as the night progresses, we can see the NPCs that are indoors slowly starting to go mad. So if we go like kill all of the optional bosses before fighting Rom and all that, we will see like the NPCs inside start screaming even before the blood moon, and they become completely unresponsive. So that's part of my rationale of why I also argue that the blood moon is present right now, but we just can't perceive it. You should grab the dweller like Batman and push him against the wall and ask, "Where is he? Where is he?" and see what he says. They'll be safe here as an amygdala is using the outside wall as a resting point. Yeah. I mean, who's going to mess with an amygdala? He'll just grab whatever's coming along. You think he says it that way because he has a Cockney type accent? Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be asking you, but if you happen upon someone while hunting, tell them about this here Oedon chapel. If they seem worth being told, that is. Oh, and I do sincerely hope they are.
See, that one sounds like way more of a hard R, so all the haters can get bent. Saturn, welcome back to the stream. It's nice to have you. Probably don't have enough insight to see the amygdala. Yeah. Amygdala equals guardian angel? Perhaps. Something like that. It'll definitely inspire fear in the enemies who see it.
I know I shouldn't be asking you, but if you happen upon someone while hunting, tell them about this here Oedon chapel.
Yeah, that's an R. That's a hard R. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and grab the monocular first because it's a lore through, and I should turn on my HUD. Oh, he does not get stun locked. Alright, I know OBS just died there for a second, so hopefully my stream didn't just crap out. Let's see how we're doing. Let me look at the Okay, I just did die for a second. So hopefully we should be back now. I don't know why OBS does that. It's kind of annoying. Oh yeah, and one of the cool things about the amygdala is it has no purpose other than to grab you since we don't have the DLC. So let's get our top hat and whatnot. I'm trying to remember if he will like one-hit kill us and end our no-death run. Pretty sure he might. That'd be kind of a fun way to lose the no-hit. Or the Deathless run. I said no hit, didn't I? I totally meant Deathless. Alright, so one thing that I'll point out right now is... let me record. When you first get grabbed by this amygdala, once you get frenzied, you'll gain a point of insight. And that's kind of worth taking note of, I think. You can also see the reflection of it somewhat. So, we wait to go frenzied. Then we got that point of insight. So I think that's kind of fun to point out. Where are we? Okay, so we're that way. We're gonna go this way. Damn remnants, reality generation field culting the place. Is an angel in the horrific biblical sense? Exactly. Small pause, but okay now. The amygdala is the only one that harms you on top of giving you frenzy. So the one outside where like Patches tells you to go, that one will kill you, I'm pretty confident. Like, it drops you up from the sky and all that stuff. I probably should fight some of these enemies, otherwise I might die. Ow. Oh, need to kill it. Oof, that scared me. And then we'll get the Wandering Madness over there. Oh, that didn't kill it. That's scary. Crows that can live. Too slow. Probably should have rallied some of that health back. Okay. Is the stream buffering for everyone else as well? So yeah, we did have a hiccup. I don't know how far behind we are on the stream. So hopefully it's better now. It was my OBS. It wasn't even my internet crapping out this time. And for those of you who may not know, OBS is like the streaming software that I use. So I got like an alert from my computer that it crapped out. So now we get our lore item, the monocular. Allows us to see. So yeah, actually let's show this off a little bit, because we should have a clearer picture of things with 1.0's lighting scheme. So that's the bridge where we'd fight the cleric beast right there. This one down here is Gascoigne's. Like that's where the boulder would roll through. Those are like the sewers down there. This should be Old Yharnam, I think. No, it'd be like more the other way. So that's Jura's tower? No. Oh yeah, to show all that stuff off, Jura's tower, I need to be on Gascoigne's bridge, I think. Can't really see it too well from down here. So that's like the start of Old Yharnam right there, that building on the left. Then you go across. So that's like the broken watchtower. And then Jura should be like way down there. Guess you can't really see it from this low poly version. Okay. Hey, Tanner, thank you very much for the 20. Got to dip out, have work in the morning. Glad to caught some of the stream tonight. Happy hunting. Thank you very much. Good seeing these streams again. Thank you very much, Tanner, and you have a good night. Thank you for dropping in as always. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. We will be going live at the same time tomorrow as well. So one of the cool things to show off on like this side of the bridge here are like these little messenger statues. So as I was saying, like, do the people of Yharnam actually see messengers? At the very least, we get a ton of the religious iconography of them. And they have like little holes for faces, kinda, or like mouths, I guess. So a decent amount of variety. Level design in Souls games always amazing. Yeah, I had no idea like how well they actually connected together until like I really took the time to sift through it and try to figure it out. Damn it. I'm definitely not used to killing crows with the non-threaded cane. Okay, so we got 3 shards. We can upgrade now. So what we're going to do is we're going to YOLO go for the... Oh no, we could just reload. I don't think there's anything on these ones. Yeah, not on the balls themselves. I know, like, the axe dudes, if you look at their axes up close, you can see the small hunters. Oh, we do no damage. This is a mistake. Oh, 5 shards. Holy crap. That's a ton. Alright, so what we're going to do next, we're just going to go down to the bottom. Pick up this blood gem, I think it is. And then reload the game. Tempering blood gemstone. And this is one of the Lance McDonald's favorite things to show off, is like once you reload and like load back in from this area, like it'll have the Cathedral ward loading screen pop in to show that like in earlier builds of the game that you might have been able to come through like the door on the Cleric Beast Bridge. I think, was it Illusory Wall actually restored it recently, or was it Santa DSK? I don't remember. Church sculptors be hitting that blood for inspiration. Molotov the Wandering Madness? I thought about it. I didn't remember how much damage the Molly does to it. Because I don't use them a lot, honestly. I mostly just use it for Gascoigne. Isn't that Church Giant the only one in the whole game? I think you might be right. I don't know if they show up in the Chalices. So we should get the loading thing here. Yep, okay. So our madness should be there now. Oh, that did it. Okay. And we'll leave our big boy. 3 shards. It's going to take a second to get up. Okay. That'll be good enough. And then we'll go back to Central Yharnam, or the clinic, and talk to the fake Yosefka. The load-in with all those statues. It's real. Actually, I'm surprised at how quickly it's loading the map so far. Well, like not this stuff, but like the actual like big load-in. Stab myself in the foot. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break as we load into the clinic next. Lots more giants where that came from. DS2 is more like an experimentation in new mechanics. See, that's a lot faster this load than I was expecting. It used to take forever, it felt like. Maybe dying is what really took forever. Alright, so I'll be right back. And then this is the kind of noob trap setup killer. If we try to come this way, the boulder comes crashing through. And then you just fight a bunch of Cabra demons, a bunch of Taurus demons, and so having another recycled... Why is that back now? Well, you got by the oldest one in the book. Venom says, when you started this playthrough, you mentioned how obvious the ball rolling trap was, and I thought he's going to fall for it on a second trip through the asylum. I figured he probably didn't have a lot of hits with this Vihander. Wait, what? That's actually really, really funny. Just straight up assassinated right there. Okay. Let's go get our damn souls back. So now we should have a little time to read chat. Nix what I said about the souls, guys. So if I remember correctly, you actually just need to walk off here. You don't run. Because that screwed me up for a while. Well, sometimes I just get stubborn. Which I really shouldn't do on stream. I tell myself not to do it on stream, and then I end up doing it anyway. Alright, everybody, and we're back. Hopefully the be right back screen was entertaining enough. I'm gonna say load times are a lot better on the PS5. Yeah, NVMe SSDs or something. Yeah, so it's a very, very pleasant surprise. Like I thought, like Digital Foundry's like initial reviews are that like there were still pretty bad load times, but well, maybe not. Could be misremembering.
Hello. Splendid. Let me ask you a small kindness. You're soon off to hunt, I presume? Then, if you find any survivors, tell them to seek Yosefka's clinic. Upon my Hippocratic oath, if they are yet human, I will look after them. Perhaps even cure them. This sickness, these beasts, they are not to be feared. This time the night is long. I may be trapped here, but I should do something to help. I'll even offer a reward for your cooperation. Tempted? Well, off you go then.
Right, so everybody asks, how loud is the PS5? It's really not too loud, even though I have the disc in. I guess it might depend on the game, like Bloodborne isn't too demanding for it, but I haven't really noticed it more than any other things. And Hansa, welcome in, and somebody else said something that I was going to reply to. Oh, Stella said it was Lance McDonald, thank you for double checking. The load times are definitely better than the PS5, yeah. Very pleasant surprise. So yes, so this is the impostor doctor. She does not recognize us upon our first chat with her. She says, like, are you out on the hunt, I presume? So, like, we should have already talked to this lady, but if we look through the door, like, she looks the same still. And Lance McDonald said, like, they changed this from, like, an opaque door to, like, this broken one, like, maybe only, like, a month or maybe it was a few weeks before the game was released. So they definitely made it deliberate so that you could compare the two, which kind of is a little bit frustrating just because it's a little bit harder to pick up on that they're separate characters. But for what it's worth, she does have a different voice actress, and she is described as the imposter doctor in the credits. So there is like a decent amount of hints that they would be different characters. It's just a little unfortunate because it's really easy to miss the first Yosefka. Once you beat Father Gascoigne and go into Cathedral Ward, that's what triggers the evening state of the game, I believe, and then that's what causes her to take the place of the real Yosefka. And now we're like in the deeper evening set of the night as well. That'll show off once we get to Gilbert, if I remember. And Hassa says, how's the day-night been? It's not been bad. Thank you very much for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. Joshua Morning, welcome in. Love the videos. Thank you. Why do they look the same anyway? Which makes no sense for them if you've never seen the original. Oh, the two characters, maybe because, you know, for the lulz, it could be that Miyazaki's a sadist and wants to confuse players. It could just be because just resources and they didn't feel like rendering new characters. Like when we look at Vicar Amelia's face in Lance McDonald's videos and whatnot, she has a Chai Maiden face, which totally doesn't match the character model at all. I think somebody in my Discord like posted a picture of Annalise without the mask, and it's just like the default male character's face, I think, something like that. So yeah, it's pretty unsettling. But I mean, it makes sense. Like, why spend the time and resources when they can be spent elsewhere? They're really, really good at cutting corners in a complimentary way.
If you find anyone who's still human, send them straight to Yosefka's clinic. You can assure them there's no place safer. Please, do me this service. If you find anyone, you can please.
So that's our second safe haven. Safe being used a bit liberally there. So our Scourge Beast should still be here. I do like how like the little corpses here animate when that beast interacts with it. We'll just leave him there for now. I guess there's no reason to, but he doesn't respawn, so let's let him live. I probably need to kill that guy because he's going to follow me if I talk to Gilbert. Okay. And Hassa, thank you very much. You said a Garden Vise at the mask thing with the Queen was pretty funny. Okay, Garden Vise. That was the name I couldn't think of. Annalise just passes with the wig and it's hilarious. Bloodborne never got a PS5 upgrade. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I was hoping like Sony would do something, especially with it being released on like the PSN games. Okay, this is not following me. So now we should get our flame sprayer.
You needn't concern yourself with me. I'm afraid I'm of little help now. But before I take this, I made no use of it, but perhaps you. What afflicted me was incurable, but this town gave me hope. Their strange blood bought me time. I was most fortunate, unharmed by the plague of beasts. I can even die human.
So, Gilbert thinks, right? I mean, we'll check up on our buddy later on, but he's not quite finished yet. He's got a little bit of ways to go. So we just get the flame sprayer, I believe. I kind of wasn't paying too much attention looking at the chat. Let's double check. Yes, okay, sweet. So this is a special weapon used by certain members of the Healing Church. Spits searing flames by using blood-imbued quicksilver bullets as a special medium. Not the most efficient weapon by any stretch, but sometimes a sea of flame is just what the doctor ordered. Oh yeah, that reminds me of Yosefka. Besides, the beasts of Yharnam can always use a good cleansing. So, this is why some people tend to believe that Gilbert might be a former Healing Church hunter, just because he does have the flame sprayer and it says it comes from them, so there's that possibility. We don't really know for sure. I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other, so it's just up to individual interpretation as far as I'm concerned. What else? Oh yeah, the doctor stuff. I did mean to bring up once again that when the fake Yosefka told us on her Hippocratic oath she will treat and cure patients, the term that she uses in Japanese is more like, oh, as I'll treat them as a doctor. So the Hippocratic oath is just another localization thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that like the world of Bloodborne had Hippocrates on it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not quite as supported as some people believe. If he's a foreigner, how does he know about what the church does? So there's like a decent baseline amount of information that characters in the world have. So he knows a little bit about what they do, but he says he doesn't really know the inner workings, and that's why we need to go to Cathedral Ward. So that's kind of our next hint of where to go. We did skip the dialogue that he gives after we say, like, after we kill the cleric beast and say, like, hey, idiot, the bridge is blocked off. Didn't you know that? So at the very least, like, it does show that Gilbert does have some holes in his knowledge of Yharnam, because he's like, oh, well, you want to go to the Cathedral Ward? You go through the Great Bridge. But it's like, no, you can't, because the Healing Church blocks it off. So keep that in mind. He doesn't know about Paleblood, so he's probably just guessing. Yeah. So he just knows that the Healing Church uses strange blood, so maybe they have different kinds of strange blood. So he says he's never heard of Paleblood, but if anybody would know, it would be the Healing Church. Based Gilbert.
Don't you worry about me.
Alright, so little girl and then old lady. Or old lady then little girl. Makes more sense. Oh. Probably want to have a weapon out. Oh, and I didn't upgrade the weapon. Let's get some more quicksilver bullets. And then the dude upstairs said smells like you, stranger. So I guess I should talk about like the NPC lines right here. So they do say some interesting things about like the hunter, I'll mess up your brains. Not that one, but like smells like you, stranger. I'm cold, dear sister. I think there's still even like the line about like by the judge of Idala, and that reminds me of like Stella B's like, how come so many women have like A names? Tell me about it, man. I mean, like Adela, Annalise, Ariana. I think I just said Annalise, Adeline, whatever. And that's just in this game alone. It's kind of hard to keep track. Like, I would always confuse Ariana's name with Annalise for a while. It took a really long time of like playing the games and being like super familiar before I could keep them all straight in my mind. Where do I want to send the old lady? She gives sedatives. I mean, we've shown her off before. Chat, where should we send her? The clinic or the chapel? Church people broke the fourth wall and made that door impossible to open. Wonder what hunters smell like? I think they smell like, savor. There is no safety for anybody. Chapel? Okay. Make her a moon man? Chapel has more stuff? Okay.
Unless you found me a nice, safe place. Well, what do you know? An outsider worth a lick of salt. Well, don't just stand there. Don't you have work to do? Go slit some throats. Get this mess done with. Oh, enough with you. Trot along. Chop, chop.
I love the chop chop. Alright, so that'll be enough of that. Eileen is still here. She doesn't move until you open, like, the... I don't want to say, like, the big Cathedral Ward gate. It's, like, the second one. The one right before the Grand Cathedral, if you know what I mean. She'll say the same thing.
What are you still doing here?
If, this, like, was the if this is like the updated version of the game, I was considering it like doing a Blades of Mercy run, and it's so much easier to do that when you have access to the what I'll refer to as the naughty chalice. If you're in the know, you're in the know. If you're not, it's just a chalice where you can get like almost like 100,000 blood echoes per run, and you don't even have to do anything. Hey, LMAO. A little, blueberries. Ferdinand, welcome in. The Forbidden Chalice. It's not forbidden, it's just naughty. So this is the dude that likes to talk about his dear sister. Hey, that timing though. You can look at his butt and see that he's got like a little nub of a tail sticking out. And I do like how like the little boots are splitting open, and you can kind of even see like they've got like claw-like toes almost. So they're like in the midst of transforming. And the other members of Yharnam, I guess I didn't point them out, like, they're all transformed as well somewhat. Like, their left arms are way, way longer than their right ones. And it kind of explains why they have such a terrible motor control. It'd probably be harder to operate a rifle if your left arm suddenly grew, like, another length. Yeah, so she doesn't say anything different yet, which I'm not surprised. I'm not going to worry about every, like, inconsequential NPC. You thought the naughty one was the one with the big fat naked guy that rolls around? That is a naughty chalice, but it's not the naughty chalice at this point anymore. You can't believe they never kept the name of the buff material in the Demon Souls remake. Joshua says, you wish they could make a sequel to this game and reveal more old ones and their other eldritch beings. I would love like an ancient Egyptian or maybe like an Aztec style version of like a Bloodborne game. So even if it was like Bloodborne 2, but it had like absolutely nothing to do with it other than like another culture that used blood, I think that'd be super cool. One that I'd be interested in. And if like my way to like convince other people that it could be cool. It's like, oh, JoJo, like season 1, but like better, I guess.
Hello, Miss Hunter. Still can't find my mum.
So that was one of our first bits of gender dialogue. She calls us Miss Hunter, and we can't find the mob. And since we used our her brooch, we can't give her the brooch as well, so she'll start to like look for her essentially.
Oh, okay. I can wait. But isn't there something I can do? Maybe Mum and Dad are stuck out there, waiting for me to come and find them. What do you think, Miss Hunter?
Santeria, 1911, and Tetsuo, welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you guys again. And Effervescent, I didn't actually know that you could do that. I was going to pick up the shield and kind of make it more of a meme run. I was going to do it once we got the, what's it called? The rifle spear, just because I don't remember how well those two interact with each other, but I was going to do it anyway. So for her, I'm going to send her to the clinic, because I think in this version of the game, you get a blue elixir instead of a lead elixir, which is kind of interesting that it was different and they changed it. The blue elixirs are cool, but yeah, we'll see.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Miss Hunter. I love you almost as much as Mum and Dad. And Granddad.
Granddad is most likely a reference to Henrik, and it could just be like a term of endearment. It doesn't necessarily have to be biological, but maybe Henrik is like Viola's father, and that's how like he and Gascoigne became pals. So she's going to become a blueberry later on, and we'll get the formless Oedon rune from her.
Thank you, Miss Hunter. I love you almost as much as Mum and Dad. And Granddad.
Copy to Pasty says, is the blood a lot more bright red on the character in this version? It could just be because my brightness is so high, because my monitor isn't super bright, so I have to turn it up pretty high. But yeah, I guess it does look kind of bright. It could also just be because of the lighting settings in the game. Oh yeah, and I didn't ever show off the evening, so once we go back to the lantern, I'll take a look back out over Yharnam to show like the deeper evening phase. So next I'll probably level up endurance. Those are kind of like my dump stats, and I just get I just invest into them as early as possible. And screw them, I don't feel like talking to them. And this will be like my first dedicated arcane playthrough, other than like the Tonitrus, which I wasn't too much of a fan of. Not that there's anything wrong with the weapon, it's just extremely loud. And I don't like its moveset. So maybe there is a lot wrong with it. Alright, let's go back. Nope, let's not go back. Alright, so now the sun is a lot bigger, but it is kind of in the same position. The sky is a bit more orange, perhaps? At least I think more towards that way. But it's definitely a lot clearer in this version of the game. Like, there's a lot less fog over, like, Cathedral Ward over that way. And over there is, like, the Grand Cathedral up the top. Okay. You just thought it was more like a moth-spoken granddad, not like a biological one? Yeah. Boba says you want the Anasazi chapter from Blood Meridian turned into a game? Cowboys finding ancient ruins in the desert while all that remains of the civilization is savages? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Style that shake-off cape gesture. No point in upgrading endurance in Bloodborne? I would disagree. Because it's really just about, like, swings of the weapon, essentially. So, like, if I upgrade it, like, twice, I'll get, like, another swing out of that. Also, it's nice to just be able to sprint longer. Maybe I'm just impatient, I don't know.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is... Very well,
Yeah, and then I'll upgrade the weapon with the rest of our echoes.
Farewell.
Maybe I'll just pop a couple cold bloods. So Gehrman's gone. Interesting. I thought it was said on Meph's wiki that he doesn't actually disappear. If so, I mean, this kind of debunks it. So just take a note of that, maybe. A holy chalice is said to be enshrined in Old Yharnam across the valley, which is essentially what Gehrman said to us before. Use 280 blood echoes and I forgot how much it was kind of busted early on. So yeah, even like the Carol runes, the Oath ones, they don't have any effects. I should have upgraded this. What am I doing? Well, I guess I don't really have too much arcane to make use of it, but still. Alright. Still a little bit shy of that insight goal, which is fine. So we'll go down to Old Yharnam. Talk to our boy Alfred. I guess we could talk to the doll. I don't think I used her normal talk dialogue. You're using the Kirk Hammer tonight just right now, the big cannon. Endurance can be useful if you want more rolls on the damage dealing in one cycle. James Curie, welcome in. Gehrman never shows up when you play. He might show up later. I think it's after we kill Bloodstarved Beast. He tells us to send to Oedon Chapel, and then after that point, I think once we kill Amelia, he spawns in over here. And this is the other nightmare message. The stump appears linked to the nightmare, but there are no messengers. So let's just talk to the doll, and then we'll go back down to Old Yharnam, essentially.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire? Farewell, may...
Where is it?
Welcome, what... Over time, countless hunters have visited this stream. The graves here stand in their memory. It all seems so long ago now. Over time, countless hunters have visited this stream. So it all... Farewell, good hunter. May you find...
Alright, I thought she was going to talk about like the little ones as well. That's not too big of a deal. So yeah, if literally every single headstone here was devoted to another hunter, that just shows like the ridiculous amount of them, which must have existed over a period of time. Granted, like this section of the map doesn't have like a ridiculous amount of them, but when we go look over like the closed off section of the Hunter's Dream, like it's just completely lined with all of these tombstones. So like literally hundreds of hunters may have existed at some point. And one interesting thing about that is at least this portion of the Hunter's Dream doesn't really align with the Waking World version of Yharnam. Don't really know how important that is, but at least it's worth noting. Think you'll make it to the workshop tonight? Probably. Those poor boys. Actually, maybe not tonight. We'll see. There are like 300 graves, though. Josh says, do you think Bloodborne is just the world that the painter used the blood of the Dark Soul to paint? I personally like to think of them as separate franchises, because that's what the developers have said, and we'll just go with it. We're going to talk to NPCs, keep that off for now. Oh yeah, you can actually interact with them with the talk thing up. You used to like Dark Souls where you can't do that.
Ah, the hunter. Thank you. So that old girl, you told her about this place, right? Well, she don't offer me much in the way of conversation, but still, I'd rather see her alive anyhow.
Triumph. So, Elda says, we don't know how often the messengers choose a hunter. They might choose every night. I think that's a good point. However, one thing which I will bring up is Adela does say, like, oh, tonight is the night of the hunt. And she seems surprised by it, which makes me believe that the night of the hunt probably isn't every single night. But nonetheless, I do think that's a good point. Maybe it's every other night. But yeah, we don't really know. Joseph says, Firelink Shrine and the Untended Grave seem rather similar to the Hunter's Dream in the Old Workshop. I think there's enough that people can argue that the games are connected. I just prefer to keep them as separate in my mind as I can. Perhaps Nights of the Hunt were once a week? Yeah, they could be even like every Hunter's Moon. Maybe that's like more of a specific thing. I don't remember, but it could just be every full moon, which would kind of tie in nicely to the whole like werewolf imagery, I suppose.
If you find any sane survivors, well, send them a knock to Oedon Chapel, will ya?
Who even is this guy? The chapel dweller. He's the nicest guy in all of Soulsborne history.
Oh no, I haven't forgotten. Do you think I owe you something? Well, that's a fine lark, I'd say. This whole mess that Yharnam's in, it's all your fault. You predicted outsiders. Our blood's ruined, tainted by your ilk. Don't you come near me. I know your type.
So, that's kind of a pretty good depiction of what some of the Yharnamites might likely think of hunters and outsiders. That they're the ones who are like causing this kind of endemic to spread amongst them, but it's really like their own fault. But it's much easier to like just point at a scapegoat and go with it that way. Lulster said, but who is he? He's just a resident of Oedon Chapel. I guess Lulster might actually be new to Bloodborne lore, which is perfectly fine. So if that's the case, let's actually go ahead and go back and read the Oedon Tomb Key, and that'll explain what the dweller's like a little bit more clearly, I suppose. So yeah, sorry I'm just doing a little bit more of an abridged run since I've done this a few times. But if you guys do have questions like that, feel free to share them. So this is the key to the gate that blocks the Tomb of Oedon. Beyond the tomb, Oedon Chapel can be found in the center of Cathedral Ward. Only today the church is abandoned, and some say that the residents of Oedon have all gone mad. So this is supposed to potentially paint the chapel dweller as like an untrustworthy person, but I think this might be in the Japanese. Actually, let me double check. I think it might just say like, it is said that they've gone mad. Yeah, so it's like, according to rumors, it said that they aren't proper, which is, you know, calling them that they've all gone mad. That's fine as far as the translation goes. The only thing that's unfortunate is that they did lose that context of like, it's a rumor or it is said that they've all gone mad. So this makes it sound, oh no, and some say, I'm just blind. Okay, should actually read what I have in front of me. Okay, so no, that makes sense. So it isn't necessarily guaranteed that they're mad. So that's just kind of what they say about them. So this just kind of makes us be more distrustful of the chapel dweller. And since he looks like a stereotypical Disney villain, it's very easy to cast suspicion towards him because he literally looks monstrous. So, yeah. He's been transfigured by the blood. It's a hell of a drug. I think that was it with her. Maybe I didn't read everything.
You. Stay away from me. I know all your tricks.
Tessa says, are you the only one weirded out by Bloodborne's massive/really close moon and sun? I guess I wasn't weirded out by them, but I think that's a cool feeling to have from it, and it just kind of does show that there is kind of more going on with them. I should have remembered. Okay, I remembered. Can't just stun lock them immediately. Oh yeah, I was gonna go get the shield before I forgot. You never got that old lady in your game? There is a difference between the night the church and Yharnam goes hunting and the hunt of the dream? Maybe. So yeah, there's a difference also between like healing church hunters and like militia style hunters, I guess. Oh no, why'd it go that way? I need to use more transformed attacks. Shows how much I just used the threaded cane. Still got hit by the crows. Before Old Yharnam, we get 3 crows over here instead of the bagman. Oh yeah, we could probably jump attack. I don't know how good this is. Another Madman's Knowledge. Just sweet. She's nice, she's just scared and lonely. She gets progressively nicer as the night goes on, which is kind of funny. As this old lady goes crazy, she becomes more pleasant and bearable. I like to think the posts in the Hunter's Dream are remnants of the arc trees. I think it's a cool idea, though. So, for those of you who may not be familiar with Bloodborne, one of the coolest systems in it is the rally mechanic. So if we get hit and then hit the enemy afterward, we have a chance to gain back some of our HP while that red bar still persists. And it even works while the enemies are like in their death animations, so long as they don't hit the ground or become fully lifeless. So it's important to kind of manage your health recovery options with rallying as well. But by the same token, it can also lead you to be greedier or riskier and get you caught. So it's a real risk-reward type thing that I really enjoy in this game in particular. Best item in the game. So yeah, let's go ahead and I guess we're full up on items here. It's a crude wooden shield used by the masses who have risen to join the hunt. Hunters do not normally employ shields, ineffectual against the strength of the beast as they tend to be. Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity. So I really do like the description of this item, especially like that final line. It just is trying to tell the player like this isn't Dark Souls, son, so don't rely on shields because they're kind of useless. So it's kind of more like a joke item than anything, although it does have its uses. And I think Miyazaki said in like one of his interviews that it gets more and more useful as you like go up the New Game Plus levels. But I feel like while that might be true, like the ultimate goal is to not get hit. So who needs a shield if you just don't get hit? I say that, but I just completely rely on my shield whenever I play Dark Souls. But it's fun, Mort. What would you say? You find the connected universe theory to be lazy? Like you're trying to add in lore from another franchise with different types of magic all because you don't want to learn the lore of this new game? Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like I understand the attraction to it, but with that being said, there are like a few thematic elements that are present amongst the different versions or the different games. So with that being said, like, there is some rationale to try to connect them, because they can help you learn more. Get our stamina back. Sorry for being rude, you just get too heated at times. It's okay. I mean, you're expressing your opinion. I mean, people can disagree with it. Say you're wrong. Because maybe you are. But it's all good. As long as we respect each other, it's pretty much all I can ask for. So, as I said before, we're going to go ahead and meet Solaire now. Many similar elements do exist. You're bad. It's all good. Don't really like the idea either. They seem like completely different worlds, and the creators have said they're not. Of course, there can be some thematic similarities, etc. Yeah. And of course, the a lot of people like justify it. It's like, oh, there's legal reasons. They're owned by different companies. That's why they can't say that they're the same, which might be true. But I mean, like, maybe just take the developer's word at it as it stands, I suppose. Not to say like give it up, but I don't know. I think in some ways by like trying to connect them, it kind of ends up diminishing all of them, if that makes sense.
You're a beast hunter, aren't you? I knew it. That's precisely how I started out. Oh, beg pardon. You may call me Alfred, protege of Master Ligurius, hunter of vile bloods.
Oodles.
So, what say you? Our prey might differ, but we are hunters, the both of us. Why not cooperate and discuss the things we've learned? Oh, very good. Very good indeed. Take this to celebrate our acquaintance.
Buyer paper, which is very nice for the arcane run. Gray.
Beast hunting is a sacred practice. May the good blood guide your way.
So I've talked before about like how I don't really think there's different kinds of bloods, and it's a little bit unfortunate that the English version said like made the good blood guide your way, just because it makes it sound like there's more than one type of blood. I understand why the localizers went with it. Like it does make it have like a really good like church reverential religious type phrasing to it, but it just kind of imparts maybe a little bit more than I think the Japanese intended, but that's kind of a whole topic of debate, I suppose. John 0098, welcome in. Good to see you safe, thank you. Glad you can join us. Why does Koss look like a human? Well, I think there is the potential that all of the Great Ones could have been human at some point. Maybe Oedon as well, maybe not. It's hard to say, but she does definitely have like a humanoid face and hands. So she could be like infected by like a parasite which caused her to transform. And alright, I'm probably gonna miss some things in the chat just because it's scrolling by too fast.
There must be oodles for us to share.
Oodles.
Go on. Just tell me what piques your interest.
That's pretty much what the only thing that I ever remember from Alfred's lines here, just oodles. It just gets stuck in my mind every time I talk to him.
As you know, the Healing Church is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, I'm a simple hunter, quite unfamiliar with the ins and outs of the institution. But I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that counselors of the old church reside in the high stratum of the cathedral ward. If you seek blood healing, and the church is willing, you should pay them a visit.
So there's quite a lot to unpackage there. Before that, Ferdinand said you thought Umbasa and Bloodborne was just a joke. So it was included, I think, in Gascoigne, like the NPC hunter version of him, like the summonable one. He would say like Umbasa to the hunter in like the network test, I think they discovered. So there might have been more of a Demon Souls connection, or it could have just been a callback, an Easter egg, like a reference. Because I think they have like some Demon Souls type armor in the Chalice dungeons as well. So it's probably just supposed to be a callback and not too important. And at the very least, it is like taken out in the final version of the game. So I just kind of look at it that way rather than saying like, oh, the two universes must be connected. Oh yeah, and then he said like the holy medium of blood healing. Let me look at the lines again real quick.
As you know, the Healing Church
Gestured.
is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, but I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that
Right, so some people take his lines here to understand that to be a reference to Righteous Daughter of the Cosmos. I would disagree with that, and part of the reason for that is like in the Japanese, he says like the holy body that served as the source of the Healing Church's blood is venerated / enshrined in the Grand Cathedral. So I think that's supposed to be understood as more of a reference to Lawrence for a few reasons. The first would be that with the the blood ministration, we get a note in the Grand Cathedral which talks about the heir to the minister of ministration, heir to the purveyor of ministration. So that's supposed to be like an indication that blood ministration comes from Lawrence, and that's why you put your hand on Lawrence's skull to gain his message, because he's like the founder of the healing church and the first one to bring blood ministration to Yharnam. His body is literally venerated enshrined in the Grand Cathedral, whereas Ebrightis isn't. She's underneath it. She's not actually like being enshrined, in my opinion. So, with that being said, the term like holy body or holy medium is also a euphemism, not euphemism, but I can't think of the right word. Another way of saying like the blood of communion in Catholicism, or like the Eucharist. Wow, where it is like the body of Jesus and the blood of Jesus in Catholicism. That's the same term used in Japanese for like the holy medium. So it's literally like holy body, holy medium. So that's kind of where they get that from. So it should be like the blood is essentially gained from Lawrence, in my opinion. So he's what's enshrined in the Grand Cathedral, and that's where like the lineage of blood administration comes from. So I don't think Ebrightis is the source of it, and I do talk about that more extensively in my video about the Hanged Men and the Hunter's Marks. So sorry for going on that little tangent there. Cosmic says the old blood does have different strains from what I know. I would mostly disagree with that. I would just argue like the potency of it changes, but yeah, it's kind of hard to unpackage, and I understand why it would be confusing and why people wouldn't think that they're all the same. You'd be surprised if it's revealed that they're actually meant to be the same, but of course it's not possible. You prefer to think of it as a callback, since Bloodborne plays similarly to Demon Souls. Oh yeah, as Elda points out, what's his name? Logarius has a sword which resembles Demon Brand from Demon Souls. You do gestures accidentally too. Quiyubo? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. You said, is there any examples of the Blood Souls putting a lore-changing Easter eggs in just for a callback? Is there any other examples of Blood Souls putting a lore-changing Easter egg in just for a callback? I'm sorry, I don't really think I understand your question properly, so if you rephrase that, I'll try to answer it. You were thinking about how the way to build up Yharnam was pretty similar to how they did it with Boletaria in comparison to Lordran. They have blood saints who also produce blood. Okay. In DS1, there's Chester who looks like he could most definitely belong in Bloodborne. Yeah, so I think instead of like a callback, that's like a foreshadowing of what's to come, like how Yamamura is kind of like a foreshadowing to Sekiro as well.
Byrgenwerth is an old place of learning, and the Tomb of the Gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter. Well, once a group of young Byrgenwerth scholars discovered a holy medium deep within the tomb. This led to the founding of the Healing Church and the establishment of blood healing. In this sense, everything sacred in Yharnam can be traced back to Byrgenwerth. But today, the college lies deep within a tangled wood, abandoned and decrepit. And furthermore, the Healing Church has declared Byrgenwerth forbidden ground. It's unclear how many of its scholars remain alive, but only they know the password that allows passage through the gate. I bid you farewell. It has been a pleasure. May the good blood guide your way.
Alright, so that's pretty much similar to what I was just talking about with like the holy medium being the blood. I feel like with his dialogue there, I mean, it shouldn't be too much of a stretch to understand that holy medium as being the blood itself, but with blood being used to open like the tombs of the gods and the chalices, and that all using the kind of same language with like the holy medium and Seitai, like Eucharist type stuff. It just kind of all meshes well together. Alright, so now we should have enough insight to use the bath and look at Gascoigne stuff as we head on down to Old Yharnam. another gemstone there. This looks a lot brighter already. Maybe it's just my settings. Oh, I did a decent amount of damage with that. It's strange, the world region is more like a bunch of city-states rather than nations. Like maybe the world is in a dark age following a major collapse. You're probably talking about Dark Souls. I do like how they kind of stayed close to the tropes of like vampires being like from Eastern Europe, and then I'm probably phrasing this terribly, like the whole thing where like Eastern Europe isn't super well known for like its culture and things like that, or like its cities and all that kind of thing. So I do like how Yharnam itself is kind of represented as kind of like a fringe outlier type of location in the world of Bloodborne. So it's kind of like off the map, except for like the people who like managed to hear about it. It has like the kind of mystique that I think lends itself well to the kind of like romantic novels. So yeah, 10 points of insight. Interesting. That's cool. So we can Gascoigne set for 3. Hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. The dingy scarf is a holy shawl and symbol of the healing church, from which Gascoigne would eventually part ways. Father is a title used for clerics in a foreign land, and there's no such rank in the healing church. So I actually wonder if I put the settings on. Let me double check. Sweet. Sweet, we can double zoom. So yeah. This is Gascoigne's garb, obviously, and you can kind of see the shawl at the top. I was going to see if you could see it from the back. It looks weird. I don't remember it being so white at the bottom left there, but maybe it is. I just misremember. So as I had mentioned before, it says Gascoigne would eventually part ways from the healing church. So he's no longer a healing church hunter, but he was at some point. And Father is a title used for clerics in a foreign land, and there is no such rank in the healing church. So the way that I interpret it is Gascoigne was probably a foreigner, just like ourselves at one point. There seems to be a common thread amongst the hunters. They probably weren't natives of Yharnam. Maybe with the exception of like Lawrence and Gehrman, but we don't really even know with them either. So, this says, no, even in Bloodborne, you're divided into more city-states rather than a nation united and under a king. Oh, okay, I see what you mean now. What the hell do normal places look in this universe then? Josh says, what do I think of the Bloodborne live action series? I mean, I'm apprehensive. It could be cool. It could just be not good for a variety of reasons. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess just apprehensive is how I feel. Like, I hope it's cool. But with it having like the Bloodborne title potentially, I think it could just be it might not live up to what I would want for that kind of game. Like I feel like they could make something in a similar setting, so I am a little bit worried that they'll probably get like a lot of the lore wrong, but who knows? We could be pleasantly surprised. Elden Ring is rife with the Kabbalah like the tree and the fallen demigod Cliffoth fragments. Yeah, I can't read that well or pronounce it well. Gascoigne saying Umbasa would hint towards some kind of connection between Bloodborne and Demon Souls that have been left in the game. I think it's more significant to consider it more than just a callback. You can't think of a From Software game that would hardly throw in a callback that shouldn't fit in the lore. I mean, a lot of stuff gets retconned or not taken super seriously. Even with, like, you could argue, like, a lot of the stuff with the blood in Dark Souls 3 was inspired by, like, Bloodborne and whatnot like that, but, yeah. I don't know, that's just the way that I look at it, and since it isn't in the final game, I don't stress about it too much. Alright, so we picked up Gascoigne's stuff. We didn't pick up any... Did we pick up any more shards? No, okay. Let's go to the doll, level up a few more times. Probably once.
Welcome, what is it? Very well, let me.
And then get shot at by Jura. Sweet.
Farewell, good hunt.
Should probably buy more Quicksilver bullets? Yeah. Especially if we're going to start using more arcane type stuff. Prague is Eastern Europe and it's probably one of the most famous cities in Europe. Yeah, you're quarter Latvian, quarter Ukrainian. Yeah, so they definitely got a lot of inspiration from Prague. I know the developers visited it for inspiration. I know like a lot of pieces in the history, or not history, in the setting for Bloodborne was also directly taken from the Notre Dame Cathedral in France, as well as, I guess I didn't show it off in the, oh, the sound effects are super loud, in the Tomb of Oedon, but the depiction of the Hunt of St. Hubert is on that one, and that was also inspired from a location in France. Oh yeah, let me record this, because it's always nice to have this footage. This town is long abandoned, hunters not wanted here. And you can open it afterward. I've heard people get confused and not realize that you could open the door after it. They just thought they were locked out.
You there? Hunter! Didn't you see the warning? Turn back at once. Old Yharnam, burned and abandoned by men, is now home only to beasts. They are of no harm to those alive. Turn back, for the hunter will face the hunt.
I think that was a really cool looking sequence for like the section of the game. So that's kind of cool to have. Alright, I'll stop that recording. Mortis says, you know that in the Discord someone figured out the summoning cubes are tesseracts in that connect to dimensions in Jewish lore as far as like Elden Ring stuff goes? Yeah. So we're gonna have a field day once Elden Ring comes out and looking at everything. I feel like to prepare I need to read so much more mythology than I'm prepared to do. And so as we come into Old Yharnam, Jura is the one who warns us to like get the hell out, that these dudes are no harm. And he's kind of right in a way. Like if you just ignore Old Yharnam, these guys aren't going to do anything. They really don't venture above. They don't harm themselves or like him and his compatriot, so they're okay to just kind of chill down here. So as we come in, this is some of the cooler stuff to show off. You get like a bunch of hanged men everywhere. These ones have like the bags over their hands, which makes me think that like the people of Old Yharnam were collecting blood that dripped down from like the hanged men, which kind of looks like the hunter's mark, which I showed this off in my latest video. Let's check that out. Obviously, like, it's not a one-to-one parallel, but just the general shape. It gets a bit more obvious, like, in the DLC and stuff. And as we look, we can see a bunch of crucified beasts. I guess I could have showed these off in Central Yharnam, and I just kind of forgot to do it. Actually, I just ran through it, which is why. And if we look at the back of these crucifixes here, they also resemble the hunter's mark, except they're right side up instead of upside down. Alright, let me... Did GRM put some sci-fi into it? Maybe. Is that Kabbalah or a different school of Jewish mysticism? I don't know too much about it other than just like some cursory stuff from like games like Final Fantasy and Shin Megami Tensei, where I've been introduced to some of that stuff. So people in chat might actually be more knowledgeable on that front than I am. Kabbalah's the fundamental of all Jewish mysticism? Okay. Your best guess is the Yggdrasil. If you remember, is it accidentally related to a real thing that happens? with the hanged men, or did I miss something? Jura hung those hunters to feed the beasts? No. So, these hunters, in my opinion, they were probably here before they started to burn Old Yharnam, just because they're in so many places. And these guys haven't transformed as far as we see. And when we go into places like Hemwick, we'll see like a bunch of other like hanged bodies or crucified people. So it leads me to believe that this is more of like a Yharnam thing. And
You're a skilled hunter, adept, merciless. I forgot with blood, as the best hunters are.
I guess I should have done that earlier, but I forgot about him. So he'll stop us, blah blah blah, he'll start shooting.
Which is why I must stop you.
I was gonna say it would suck if I actually died to that. Okay, I didn't take a ridiculous amount of damage. Alright, so for this next area, I'm just gonna like kind of run through it a little bit. I want to show something off in the church ahead of us. So if I die, I die. And past these dudes. Oh, I need to actually go in there. Well, that'll be the next thing I do. I'll get the shortcut and then go back up. That makes sense. So as we come into this area, we can kind of hear like a chanting sound going on. We can go fight Jura now, but it's best to just leave him alone until we like go meet Dark Beast Parl. Alright, so as we come in here, we can find like a bunch of the beast patients of Old Yharnam like praying. We get this chanting sound, and once we get discovered by one of the female beast patients, they'll shriek, and then like all of these other ones will stop chanting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to run into that like the little doorway down there, then I'll exit out of the game and restart just to like show this off, because it's really cool. The Kabbalah is younger than quite a bit of Jewish mysticism. Okay. Do you know the Sephiroth and Klopoth are opposites of each other? Though that's because of the Black Clover and those two being in it. Old Yharnam must have had freaky people then? Yeah. So I think part of the reason that they were doing this stuff is that's probably how they started to originally harvest blood in Tumaru. And they just kind of adopted it in Yharnam eventually. Do I want to go for the items yet? No, I'll just leave them be. So over there, I guess we can get that one. I hope they shouted. Some mollies. Oh, that's probably a mistake. I probably should have gone the other way because I'm going to get mobbed. This reminds you of how absolutely stupid the requirements for Jura's questline are? Like, man, way to ruin it for the player. Okay, Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. Yeah. This is how you cheese a deathless run. You just reset all of the enemies every time. Pro tip, stay on the last platform and then go towards the balcony and wait for the guys upstairs. You can hit them through the ceiling. Alright, so you guys did hear them scream at one point, and then they all like stopped and whatnot. But that's not quite what I wanted to show off, so we're gonna run ahead a little bit further. Oof. Dangerous. Right, so I wanted to kill that one because that one can like mess up the thing that I'm trying to go for right now. To just show them off while they're praying. Which I did put this in the last video, but I think it's just kind of cool to show this off live. and like some of the strats that you can use to get footage if you're interested in this kind of thing. You fought Jura immediately because you thought you were supposed to murk him. It's cool that it kept the poison state, but it's kind of funny that all the enemies got reset as well. So as we can see, these beast patients are like all in prayer, having their arms up, like revering this body of a blood-starved beast that's been hung up from the chapel rafters, I guess. You can set this on fire, but it's permanent. Like, I can't undo the fire, so it's kind of cool to show it off from this way. And behind that beast patient over there, you get a ritual blood, which makes me wonder if it's supposed to be like symbolically come from this one, but I don't really think that's too important right now. But I do like the idea that they've flayed this beast up and have like been drinking the blood that's been dripping down from it, and there's like that pool of blood down at the bottom. So I think they're like obviously revering this beast. So it just kind of shows like they revere its blood, which it might have like flayed itself open if it's anything like the internal file name suggests. Black Bolt, welcome in. The lore potential for Elden Ring is amazing. Is Bloodstarved Beast connected to the Tumerians? I don't think directly. I think just like thematically in terms of like how the Tumerians may have originally harvested blood. I think that's probably on display here, because there's going to be like a ton of hanged men in the Tumerian chalices as well. So I might die here just because I'm going to like run through. I'm going to grab the ritual blood because that'll be necessary for the chalice later on. And then I'm going to unlock the shortcut and go into the dark house. So as we run in, they scream, the chanting stops, they're no longer praying. I think I don't know if this is true, and it's something I've been like meaning to test, and I'll probably do it like off stream eventually. Probably not, I'm lying. That when the beast patient ladies scream, it causes the little dudes to get buffed. I think their eyes go red and they might gain poison damage. I don't remember exactly how the mechanics are reported to work, but it's a cool idea if it does work out that way. I don't remember if they climb up here or not, but I'm not going to worry about that. Is the dude still walking? Alright, well, anyway, we're gonna rush into the dark house. Hopefully I don't screw this up. And then try to pick up our rifle, spear, and whatnot. Don't cut me off. Sweet. There's gonna be a bunch of beast patients in here. Use a little bit of the flame sprayer for once. Actually use the arcane bolt. Holy shit, Black Bolt, thank you very much for the 50. You love the content? Thank you very much. Yeah, so this is one of my favorite areas in the game, just because like I discovered it on my own, because like I was really super annoyed that there was like a corpse later on that you could like kind of holy shit, you could see in the windows, but I didn't know how to get to it. That one does not take damage from the flame sprayer very well. So it took me a really long time to figure out how to get in here, but I did. And it's like a really cool kind of out-of-the-way secret area that I don't know, appreciate. It's kind of like the Bloodborne equivalent to the treasure behind the waterfall, essentially. I think we get a blood gem from this chest, and then we get some lore stuff in a moment here. All right, and then let me look back at chat. Tempering Blood one, yep. Once again, thank you very much, Black Bolt. I appreciate that. Can lure a Jura's boy to fall off the ladder, lol? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Don't worry, rumor has it Miyazaki kept Martin locked away in a dungeon for writing item descriptions. I heard that he did like the bigger, like overarching lore stuff. So I don't know about the flavor text, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I feel like a lot of stuff is probably going to be, I don't want to say recycled, but I think it'll come up again, like with the whole way that they're going to explain not dying. I think that's kind of going to be reminiscent of things that we've already seen before. So this body is pretty easy to miss, because if you're just like walking along, it's kind of easy to miss that glow. Rifle spear. Actually, I think I might have missed the rifle spear in my first time playing through the game. I think I had to go back to get the trophy. So that dude's got the old charred hunter set. And so this is a really, really important note. So before I read that, I'm going to look back at the chat. Arcane damp blood gem on the bridge in Murder's Loft. Does that help with the spear? I don't think it does. I think only flat ones do, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll help. As if so, I think I could farm a few of the celestial emissaries in the woods for some arcane early. I know that there's the flat, not the flat, but the percentage gem down in the swamp area. See Music says, wait, does the altar where you get the ritual blood look different? You don't remember it being so ornate. No, it is ornate. I'll try to show that off later. I just wanted to get this stuff first. Please equip the charred garb. I could. No problem. I really enjoy the channel. Thank you very much. Alright, and I am a banana. I do need to fix my posture. Okay. The red moon hangs low and beasts rule the streets. Are we left no other choice than to burn it all to cinders? So this is really cool. This kind of sets up as to why Old Yharnam had to be burnt. And it does set up that when the red moon comes close, that the beast outbreak is so bad that it's literally uncontrollable. Which is essentially what's happening again on our night of the hunt, and that's why so many people have transformed. So essentially we have like an apocalyptic style event in terms of the hunters. So hunters like Jura might not be the right example, but maybe hunters like Eileen had much smaller hunts to contend with, whereas like ours is catastrophic. Alright, so Mega Blair says, was this old house a place where the powder kegs lived / their workshop? Maybe. I don't really know. It just seems kind of like a house because we don't really get like a whole bunch of like hunter tools hanging around. But as far as like the actual items we do get like a decent amount of them. The charred hunter garb set. Unfortunately, we don't get the hat because that's kind of more Jura's thing. So, blunt thrust. Maybe I don't want to wear this one just yet. Oh, it does do a lot of beasthood, though. Yeah, if it weren't for the... Wait, what's its poison resist? That's important. Oh, I probably should go with Gascoigne, then. That's good enough, I think. I'll leave that for now. Form over function. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. It's a bit better than I would have expected. Okay. Bastion Souls is real. You don't think Martin has a clue how to write lore? Oh, I thought that was the dude shooting at me. I was like, wow. Well, I'd like to be proven wrong if Martin can write a video game lore. I think we'll get shot at if we stay down here, so we're going to YOLO run. Yeah. Bruh. Oh, this dude can follow me? That's cute. Yeah, I agree a bit with Effervescent that it's typical of like just giving praise for the sake of the press. That's kind of how I feel about like the quote with Miyazaki talking about the translations of the games. Like, I don't think anybody in their right mind would be like, oh no, there's problems. Like, we can't get everything over like 1-to-1. Like, there's no good basis for that. He's never been wrong so far. Charred Hunter and Jur's hat was the original design for the Hunter. The charred garb and top hat is top tier. Felt like it was more of an extension of how Miyazaki's always been influenced by Western literature, Dracula, Lovecraft, and taking it further to have a Western author and to have some influence. I think it probably just helps free him up a bit to like work on directing more, because he is also the president of FromSoft, so I'm sure he's got like a lot of responsibility. So if he's able to just kind of ease some of that burden, it'll probably help things in the grander scheme of things. Alright, so now we're back in the chapel. Let's turn this off, start recording. So no more chanting, and this time they didn't scream about it. And then once we go all the way down, I'll try and take a look at that altar again. I did try to like ID what symbols were on it, but I really couldn't. It's kind of hard to find that stuff out. Oh, too not far enough, I guess. Trying to think of where the safest way to go is. I think I probably just want to lead them this way. Drop down and then use some of the Molotovs. So we're going to drop down that way. I think we can also just guide them into the fire. Maybe not. Oh, you can dodge that. Bruh. Sweet. You don't think from the GRRM's name for brand recognition at this point? Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But, I mean, we all know Miyazaki's a big nerd, so if he was just looking at an excuse to actually be able to talk to GRRM, I totally would buy that as the actual, like, canon explanation as to how that meeting came to be realized. Did Bloodborne have Lovecraft's name associated? Yes, but Sekiro, not at all. So, okay, we're not being chased. So this, I mean, it's always kind of looked like garbage, even in the retail build of the game. It seems like it's supposed to have been like intentionally dilapidated, and there's like a figure of like a person on here. It's kind of hard to like tell, but like the head's at the very top. It's got like the arm across the chest or whatever. I thought I came close to like figuring out what this was once, but it just didn't pan out. It's really hard to just type in like gold relief statue or just random associated words and come up with a hit. But I mean, sometimes you get lucky. Like that's how I found like the Dionysus unveiling Ariana. So if anybody's like an art historian in the chat and has any idea what the hell these things are, feel free to let me know. And I'm definitely eager to hear it. Miyazaki 3000 IQ fanboy made a whole game just to talk to his idol. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing with the Fear of the Old Lore channel. Just get enough clout to get Elden Ring early. Not really, but that's kind of my joke about the channel at this point. God, so loud these crows are. Okay, so it's really like the R2 that's just not super great at hitting them. All of the Dark Souls message is just springing to mind when I see this corpse every time. The Collab Deep lore is that Miyazaki wants to know how Sword of Ice and Fire is going to end up. Or not Sword, but wow. What am I blanking on? Song of Ice and Fire. Elden Ring's also multi-platform. Yeah, as Cosmic said, the same thing that I've heard, that Martin has just written like a basis of the lore. Whiff more, why don't I? Oh, it looked okay. Should probably use what's called emergency bullets. Oh, I was like, what is this breathing in my ear? Nerds. Miyazaki liked Martin's other fiction, like the vampire book. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, obviously, most people are going to be familiar with Martin's Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire work, but he has done other things, which I think Miyazaki said in an interview that he enjoyed reading. Like, he didn't say it was from Martin at the time. I think I just remember it in the older ones, but I'm not familiar enough with Martin's other work to remember what that was off the top of my head. Ferdinand says, oh, never mind. These dudes scare me. I goofed. Okay. Actually, that was a lot better than I was expecting. And a lot of shards. Okay. No way, man. The lore is always pretty great. Elden Ring might not even be the game that the trailer showed. That would be so hilarious. Oh yeah, and as we come down to Old Yharnam, like, this is the valley hamlet, so as we go lower and lower, we get closer to, like, where the water all winds up in Yharnam. I should have showed this off, like, higher up. I guess I still can. But, it's whatever. So one idea that I've had in relation to Old Yharnam being in the valley hamlet is, in the DLC, if we see, I guess I could have shown off a lot of the statues. I skipped a lot, didn't I? Kinda. Whatever. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So with the DLC and the research hall showing off, like, the pool of acid or poison in the middle of it, it makes me wonder, like, if the healing church got rid of that water, where would the runoff go? The most likely explanation to me would be Old Yharnam. So that's kind of what I believe may have started to get people down with Ashen Blood ailment. So it might have been intentional. It could have just been a complete accident that Old Yharnam became infected by the water of the healing church. It is also worth mentioning that, like, all of the water beneath the town is inundated with corpses and is poisonous with the cave beneath Yosefka's clinic. Nigel, thank you very much. Freaking love your channel, man. You truly hope you get an early copy of Elden Ring so you can help hear us of our beastly idiocy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Who does it say Elden Ring won't be broken at launch? So many games are these days. That's a good point. especially like FromSoft games. I guess Sekiro came out in a pretty good state. I don't remember if it had like a ton of issues when it first came down. I don't know if I can hit it from here. Really? I'm just at a loss for words. Right, maybe I don't need to lock on. Okay, so maybe just... Well, I mean, there's a better shot. Okay, I'll switch out to my gun. Or I'll just use the AI. I just wanted to be smarter than the game would let me be. So yeah, I really like how that beast is just chilling up the wall. I think it's a pretty cool like foreshadowing of like the possibilities in the choir, the orphanage later on. Gross corpse juice. So this is where we get our beast blood pellets, the most OP item in the game. Changed my mind. For almost 30 years old, you'd hope they know not to overestimate their engine. CDPR knew what they were doing. They released an unplayable game, pulled an EA, and let the marketing hype sell it. Cyberpunk is still buggy as hell. Yeah. I don't know. At the very least, all of the hype for Elden Ring has been community oriented, or not oriented, community generated. Bro, okay. That was gonna get me. I thought I was stuck in his animations. So we get another dude to our right. Sweet. That's the point. FromSoft would know what they're capable of. Yeah, so what I was saying was all of the CD Projekt Red stuff, I mean, they obviously did like hire like their marketing team, and even Elden Ring has its own marketing team. But I would say like all of the hype that's really been generated about Elden Ring has been primarily like fans of the games. Like they've really kept a lot under wraps compared to Cyberpunk, in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But it felt like, I guess there was like a really big fan community thing with the Cyberpunk stuff as well. But they promised a lot in their trailers and just press kits, I guess, press statements. Whereas I don't really think Elden Ring is quite comparable in that regard. So we'll go get the Hunter's Torch, and then we'll go back to the Dream, level up our items, and then we'll go fight Bloodstarved Beast. And then that's probably going to be it for tonight, because it is starting to get kind of late here. I mean, it's pretty late for a lot of people, myself included, but... Sweet. Okay. Read some more as we climb up this ladder. But we have seen gameplay. Oh, is that where the werewolf jumps from? Yeah. It's pretty easy to miss. Like, that's one of the very first jump scares in the game. And it does set up that it's possible for the orphanage one. So I really like the little attention to detail. My only regret is you can't really see like a scourge beast hanging from the base of the orphanage in Upper Cathedral Ward. If they would have had that, oof, chef's kiss. You honestly wonder if FromSoft actually backed off marketing when they saw the community going nuts. I mean, I think they definitely did. Like, if for no other reason than just like Jeff Keighley's reactions, like, I'm free of the Elden Ring curse, guys, stop asking me shit. So yeah, it definitely seems like it's been like the most hyped game for a long time. Maybe not more than Cyberpunk, because that Also, I had a huge amount of hype.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it?
Alright.
Very well.
Start pumping some arcane. Does she say anything?
Over time.
No, okay.
Very.
Probably just upgrade the flame sprayer now, because that's going to do a lot for the arcane stuff. And then we really just need twins from here on out. Alright, so let's go back to Old Yharnam and BSB. Elden Ring is in no way going to be as technically superior as Cyberpunk. Yeah, it's probably not even going to look as good as the Blue Point remaster or remake. It's like you're holding a watering can for fire. Pretty much. They lied more about Cyberpunk than No Man's Sky. Oof. Well, to be fair, I don't really think... Maybe No Man's Sky's devs did lie a bit. I didn't really ever get that vibe from it during the time. I just felt like it got overhyped for no reason. I was like, well... I was always on the fence about it. Not that I thought like it was going to be a bad game or like it was going to have so many issues. I didn't see what the fans were seeing at the time, I guess, would be how I'd say it. So I feel like that was more like fan misperception than the devs promising too much. Although I do think that they might have overpromised some things and ended up under-delivering for a variety of reasons, but it was like an indie game that just blew up overnight from the rumors surrounding it. You disagree if you say they faked gameplay? Alright, Josh, thank you very much for dropping in, and I hope you have a good one, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Oh, I was too loud. Never mind. And we get another shard, which is nice. So I think this one's going to scream no matter how close we are or how far. I was going to try to see if this dude's eyes are normally red. I guess he doesn't walk. Damn it. Can't see its eyes. It's unfortunate. That's not what I wanted. So this dude has red eyes. He deals poison damage. He's got a lot more health. Occasionally he shakes his head like that. When we hit him, his blood will cause us to get a little bit of poison buildup. Which is really cool. Like, this is the only one that does it, I think. In the other FromSoft games, like, red eyes is a sign of, like, agitated emotions, I guess. And that, like, having agitated emotions is, makes you stronger. Like, humanity going wild, red-eyed enemies in Sekiro. Bloodstone shard. We did talk to Alfred, so this thing should be here. Yep, okay. That'll be Alfred, and we can summon him with the beckoning bell. Maybe I should. Even though that'll actually make the fight harder. Yeah, I think I need to, just to, show off the actual effects of the summoning mechanics in this version of the game. Okay, let me go on and start recording again. I guess I was recording and didn't stop. You believe the beast gets red eyes after the roar? Yeah, I might need to come in from this angle to double check. You notice the roar buffs the enemies with poison. Back in the big cathedral? Okay. And so as we come closer, we can see that it says view notes. If you require assistance, you need only ring the bell. So I think we actually need to use it. But I know I can do it. So strange. I've done it before. I do have insight. What is going on here? Alfred left that note? No, so this is like probably a dev note. Maybe it is a note from Alfred. That would make the most sense. But you should be able to summon him at this point. Like in the old Hunter's version, it's like read automatically, and they use the old Hunter bell. But in this version of the game, you use the beckoning bell. I have done it before, so I'm confused why I'm screwing up. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't pick up the antidotes in the building when we first came into the area. So if we get hit by Blood-Starved Beast, it's gonna be bad. Do I have to be online to summon? Maybe, but you can't connect to the network in 1.0. Cyberpunk situation has opened our eyes to so many other messes in the industry. What Western developers call the crunch, the Japanese call a normal working schedule. I have no idea about that. Like, I know, like, generally there's going to be, like, a bit of a cultural difference between the two countries, but I don't know how well that translates from those industries, to be honest. Multiplayer only, maybe? I've done it before, because I've played 1.0. So I wonder if we need to initiate the fight with the boss and then maybe come back. Don't want to do that though. I wonder if it'll light up at a certain spot. So strange to me. There's like another one over there as well. Kill shot BSB with the flame sprayer. I can see the Blood-Starved Beast way down there. It's a cool image there. You think it makes the fight harder getting the AI? Partially that, but it also like buffs the boss's HP to have a bit more HP. Also, the Blood-Starved Beast is one of the ones where getting hit by it a few times can actually be pretty disastrous this early in the game. Alright, let me try connecting again and... It really shouldn't matter, but I'm just curious because of the servers. So alright, I'm gonna go be right back to turn on my settings, and then yeah, one moment. And then this is the kind of noob trap setup killer. If we try to come this way, the boulder comes crashing through, and then you just fight a bunch of Cabra demons, a bunch of Taurus demons, and so having another recycled... Why is that back now? Maybe that'll change things, I doubt it, but we'll see. Yeah, okay. I guess we're screwed this time. I think I do have videos of it, of when I've done it before, but I'm just confused that it didn't work this time. Alright, well, we'll try doing it live. Do I want to put on the beast blood pellets? We don't have any antidotes right now because I screwed that up. I guess we can also parry Blood-Starved Beast. Feels like I'm forgetting something else though. Oh well, we'll see. Alfred didn't help much in this fight. Yeah, he's not too big of a help, but it's more like the summoning mechanic being different and me wanting to show that off more. Oh, that was way too soon. Oh yeah, let me know. Probably should have done that first. Now I want her away from like these walls because she gets kind of annoyingly stuck in them. Becomes more of a pain to fight her. I guess I'm close enough. Just dodge in and to the left, typically. Oh. Some stamina. Should be it. Alright. Yeah, I really didn't use the beast blood pellet, but it's all good. We get the tumor chalice. It's unfortunate I couldn't show off the Alfred thing, but maybe we could also show off the cleric beast one before we go. Maybe he's there, maybe he's not. That'll kind of definitively say one way or the other. Still counted though. He never died to the boss itself, always to the poison. It's really funny when I see streamers like doing their first runs, killing the blood-starved beast, and then like being so overjoyed at like finally killing the boss, they like completely ignore the poison and end up dying to it. It's like my favorite thing. The blood cocktail. Oh yeah, I should have showed off like the blood cocktails don't work in 1.0, I guess. The music's scary. Yeah, I love the blood-starved beast theme. GG, thank you for the GG. Destroyed. What you finally did was go into some blood cocktails and distract it in the corner of the third phase. Yeah, that's like the most reliable way to do it. Right, I want to show these statues off, but I don't really have time right now, so I do want to go back to the Hunter's Dream and then to Central Yharnam to see if we can summon Alfred before ending for the night. Sarah Burkham, welcome in. Bloodborne making a comeback, is it? Missed it? Maybe it is. I mean, I feel like with the PS5 making it free with the PSN, it's definitely gained a little bit more popularity.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire? Over time, it
Boring.
Farewell, good hunter. May...
Alright, so Gehrman should be back, and we'll probably need to talk to him next time. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave those as they are. Or wait, maybe I needed... No, it should be the beckoning bell that works. You know what, let's just be safe. Even though I'm like 100% certain that doesn't matter, but who knows? Apparently I don't. You miss version 1.0? I mean, it's still available, sort of, just not online. Sarah's been enjoying the lore videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate that. We can also talk to our boy Gilbert. You should have a little bit of different dialogue, maybe? No? Okay. Oh yeah, because we didn't really learn about Bergenworth. Alright, so no Alfred summon here, so maybe it's really only for the Bloodstarved Beast. It's interesting. Okay, so we'll just probably leave it off for there for the night, and then if I do fight the Cleric Beast, it'll be once we get the Arcane Rifle Spear, just so we could like do ridiculous amounts of damage to it just by shooting it to death. I think that'll be kind of funny to show off. Alright, so for everybody who's dropped in, left comments, as always, I appreciate it. If you're watching this after the fact, I also appreciate that. We will be going live again tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you guys want to join in. I'm thinking about going live every day, at least until the playthrough is over. So if you're interested in more lore discussions, feel free to join the Discord. And once again, thank you for dropping in, and see you next time.